Okay, good evening, everybody. We'll call to order this meeting of the Jericho Selectboard of October 16th. In order to make our meetings more efficient, we are limiting the public comment to the beginning of the meeting, the public to be heard section. Select board meetings are in the public, not of the public. There will occasionally be agenda items where we will ask for public comment. Today, we'll look for public comment on the DuBois and King PER and the budget discussion. Everything else, you feel free to talk about in the public to be heard section, which is first. Please do not use the chat on Zoom for anything other than technical issues, and please be respectful. With that said, is there any public to be heard? You want to do it from there, Bob, or you want to come up? Whatever works.
I'm happy back here unless.
Sure, go ahead.
I'm good.
We can hear you.
My name is Robert Bob DuBois. I live on Mile White Road in Jericho. And first, just a quick question. This is concerning the Riverside septic issue. Is that the main topic for tonight?
The first topic on the agenda is about a yes.
Okay.
Preliminary engineering report for the for that septic area. Yeah.
So again, you have to bear with me. I'm a lay person, not up on this stuff, but just a couple questions that I'm sure will be answered later in the meeting. But
so I'm just going to pause you right there. If it's about that topic, I think the meeting would flow more smoothly if you asked it then. That's one that I am looking for public comment on. So if your comment is about that, it's probably best to wait until which is the very next agenda.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how long I can stay or whatever. I mean, is it just a couple of general questions to throw out and then hopefully ask them later if I can stay that late? It's very brief. It's probably 90 seconds here, whatever.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you. So concerning the Riverside project, I'm just curious for one question. How many new or existing homes or other structures will benefit from the so-called septic project that's proposed? And if any of those homes will be considered for affordable housing? Just a couple of real quick ones here. Another concern is the operational costs over the long term, how much that will cost taxpayers. And best guess, the town tax cost per home to pay for this project. Does the project include septic and water, or just septic only? Since no other infrastructure exists in Jericho, will Riverside pay more, the people in that area that will benefit from this project? Will they pay more for these services that are not offered anywhere else in town? And my main question, ending with this, are there any plans for any town-wide infrastructure? Or are we just going to focus on one area of the town and the rest of the town pays for this project, but the other part of the town has, in some cases, as we may or may not know, some critical needs. And if the town is going to ignore or not act on those, but only provide services to one part of town and not the other. That's pretty much it. Thank you. Thank you.
I think a lot of that's going to be covered by the next topic.
Thank you.
Thank you. Other public to be heard online, in the room?
I have a question. This is Elizabeth Harris, and I live on Raceway Road, right next to one of the sites that's potentially going to be used. And I'm just would just like to point out that everything I've read so far is deficient in sort of a vision of what it all would look like. Is it all below ground? Will there be any structures above ground? I mean, will it be surrounded by chain link fence? There's a lot of wildlife in that site. I'm also very concerned about what it might cost in the end. There's just not anything about the cost. And around the state, communities that pay usage fees, those fees vary quite a bit, from like 100 a year to 500 a year in Stowe. So I just think that everything you read is sort of deficient on dollar amounts. That's all I'm gonna say.
You're gonna love the first topic of the meeting. You're
We're gonna
gonna,
address a lot of those questions.
yeah, we're gonna address a lot of that. Thank you for your question. I do think that you're welcome to ask questions as part of the next one too, because I think some of that will be answered and there probably will still be some questions left. Other questions, ideally not about the PER that we're gonna approve in the first agenda item. Non-septic questions.
Yes, sir. I'm very happy to participate this meeting. And I'm also,
Sorry, can you state your name?
yes, Basho, Dere Basho. And I live Jericho. And I signed it to meet, to participate every meeting. And I'm so happy for that. That's all.
Do you
have a question? Welcome.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, public to be heard is over. First on the agenda is to review and consider approval of this CWSRF application for the preliminary engineering report by DuBois and King for wastewater in Riverside. So I think what's gonna help a little bit is I'd like to share a little bit of the history and then go into a little bit of what we're doing, what we're looking to approve now. So here's a quick chart that kind of covers what we've done in the past. Starts on August 5th of 21. We had can someone put that into present mode? I hate present mode. Do you want it bigger?
Yeah.
That better?
Great.
Keep going.
It's not present.
No, it's not present mode. I can try present mode. It generally doesn't work.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Well, if you know that, then don't bother. If you know it's not gonna work.
Yeah, just make it a little taller for everybody to see.
See that it's like present mode on my screen, but not on your screen.
Perfect.
Perfect.
All right. Now I can't see the notes.
Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, you don't know. I was like, oh, no, go back and look at it.
Is that her signed overview of clean water, not clean water? Yes, just checking.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, see?
And now we throw Eric off completely.
See?
I apologize.
Yeah. So anyway, so we had an overview from the CWSRF August 5th. On the 23rd, the SB warns an approval of the Vermont. Now, the bond bank language here is weird. Jericho incurred no expense for this, but we had to go to the bond bank to get the state to be able to apply for funds federally to fund this feasibility study that looked at all three centers. So that was then apparently we reviewed and actually approved it on June 1st. Did a bunch of public meetings. Anyway, so you can keep, I don't need to go through the whole thing. On the 24th, on June 6th of 24, we got the presentation of the 60% completion of the study. On October 17th, a year ago today, yesterday, or tomorrow, is we get the 90% and then we get the 100% on February 6th. We also had that next step thing. So this is just a little bit of a history of what's done, right? So we funded a study to go do a feasibility study. Is this area going to be good for wastewater? What do we think it could possibly cost? And they did that for all three studies. That was funded by the state. So of that, the select board chose for now the Riverside area to focus on, because we think that gives us the most, and to steal their term, it felt the most feasible. At the point of the 100% of the feasibility study, we then look to DuBois and King to go on to the next phase, which is the preliminary engineering report. And this gets a little confusing because we approved DuBois and King to do this preliminary engineering report, which included looking into how much it would cost to do this preliminary engineering report and to apply for a loan for it. So where we're at today, and that was on April 10th. And so where we're at today is we are now looking to approve the preliminary engineering report, again by DuBois and King. So that first feasibility study is like step 0, they call it, in sort of the planning of a wastewater system for a municipality. The next piece that's going to answer a lot of the questions that I heard tonight. We're like, okay, we've identified some potential sites. It's the next level. Let's get some test pits dug. Let's figure out what that could look like. At the time of that April meeting, we talked as a select board about doing a phased approach. So we build a little bit out, we get some connections, we do the next phase, we get some more connections, and we do that. So what we're looking to approve tonight is going to look at all 3 phases of the full project. And hopefully it will get us really good details of what the build out cost might be for all those phases, how many connections we'll have, what the flow rating is, like all these technical engineering terms that are the next step to understand where we're at with this particular project. And so I wanted to cover the cost of that a little bit. The cost of the PER, preliminary engineering report, is $184,000. The CSWRF, probably said in the wrong order, Clean Water State Revolving Fund, CWSRF. They will cover 50% of that, up to $100,000. So they will cover $92,000 of that $184,000 that we're looking to approve tonight. The balance of that is $92,000, and that there's a couple of things that can happen with that. If we continue to move forward through the construction phase, that $92,000 can roll into a future bond or whatever, get rolled into that construction cost. If this PER comes back and says, and we look at the results, we as a select board and the wastewater task force look at it and say, yeah, this isn't feasible. This isn't right for a town. We are still on the hook for that 92, half of the 184, that $92,000. That would end up being paid back in a 0% 5-year loan, which I do have some notes on what that could look like as far as if that were to happen. What else did I want to say, Chris? Did I miss anything? Or Peter?
I felt like that was.
So that's what we're looking at tonight. We're looking at approving the loan and continuing, and DuBois and King continuing to go do that next level of research, which answers how many homes, which answers where it might be, which starts to talk to some of the property owners or the owners of these actual sites of like, hey, can we do it here? Would it work? Test pits. We're already having a couple test pits dug to gain more information about one of maybe 2 of the potential sites. So what we as the task force, Peter Booth and I are both on the task force that the select board created. What we're excited about this engineering report is to help answer a lot of those questions. A lot of the questions that I apologize, I forget your name, asked. How much is it going to cost? Who gets to connect? What might the operation fees, the connection fees be? We're hoping to get a lot more details out of this preliminary engineering report. Oh, I forgot to cover I think I meant to look this up and I forgot, but I think we're looking for this to be completed around April. Is that right? Does that sound right, Peter or Chris? I think it's April.
I think that sounds right.
Yeah, I think it's April of 26, so 6 months.
May I ask a question? Is this 184,000 covering everything that has been done to date? And then the completion of the PER?
So everything that's been done to date was covered by the Clean Water State Revolving Fund. So there's zero cost to Jericho in that. This $184,000 is for this next phase that I described. And yes,
Okay.
that will cover all of it. And again, half of that's covered by the CWSRF. So we're on the hook for 92,000 of it.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome. Questions in the room? David?
Yes, the 92,000 that you're gonna spend for this or approve tonight. Did that approve, is that in the budget? Was it approved by the townspeople to move forward to this, or did you have to do that, or is it a line item like buying a truck for the town for road or whatever, or is this a separate item? How is this covered, this 92,000? What give you the authorization to do that, spend that money to the town, or do you have to go to the town before you do it to the people?
So because it's not something that has to be paid back this year, like, so if we go forward with this, that 92,000 rolls into the next phase of the project. So eventually, if the project does go forward, at some point, we will, unless miracles happen, be looking to do a bond vote. And so we would come to the voters of Jericho and say, we are looking to do a bond vote for this amount that will do this, that will get us through this portion of the project. So it doesn't fit on a budget for like this year because it wouldn't have to be paid this year. It wouldn't have to be paid next year. If we were to get through to the end of this and we don't do it, then yes, we have to start paying it back, but over 5 years. So it's 18,000 per year. My understanding of the way bond votes work is we have to bond for anything that's over 5 years. So I think this being 5 years, I don't know all the legal things of why you would, when exactly you would have to call it a bond, when you would. Right now, we are considering, we haven't considered anything yet until we vote, but we are considering taking this next step, incurring this $92,000 as part of the project.
I understand everything you said, but I don't think, or I miss it, and I apologize if I'm just thick, but you go ahead with this, let's assume. So you spend the 92,000 just for the sake of a figure, or 50 or whatever it is. Do you have to go to the town before you do this to spend this money? Or is it covered somewhere already in the budget? In other words, are you authorized at this time to spend that money in your budget or in the order of the select board without going to the people?
This 92,000, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are.
So how is that
When we
covered?
get to a bigger one, when we roll it into the loan or a bond, if we were to decide, yes, we want to build it, we roll that in, and then that rolls in, yeah.
But why is it that you can spend the 92,000? What's that covered under at this time?
It's not covered at all right now. Like the way it'll show up like for taxpayers is in one of two ways. Either it will show up as a part of as I would assume, a much bigger bond question to the townspeople, like I'm not gonna make up a number, some number saying, hey, we want to do this project in Riverside, it's gonna cost this amount of money, will you support this? And part of that will be this $92,000.
But
If we
you're,
don't proceed, and we said, like, you know what, if the board decides we're not gonna do this. And so now we're to the other path of, we now owe $92,000 to the lender. Then it will begin to show up probably in the FY27 tax, budget we present. It'll say $18,000 paying back.
and I understand all of that, but maybe I missed the question or you do, or I'm not phrasing it right, but you're going ahead and spend 92,000, and I understand everything that you've told me. But you're doing that on your own. You're deciding that,
That's what's in front of the board tonight, is to decide
and
that
that's what
exact
you're
thing.
gonna decide, and I understand that. But my question is, do you have the right as a select board to spend this money without going to the taxpayers with a vote or permission to do that? That's the question. That's a little different question. Do you understand
I
what I'm
understand the
trying to say
question.
now?
I understand the question. We do have that right. We do have that authority.
Would you explain to me why you do or whatever? I don't mean to take up your time, but
Because
it's
it's
just,
not it's less than 5 years.
so you can spend whatever money you want if
I think
it's
it's,
less.
I think it's a combination of two things, a certain amount of, less than a certain amount of money and less than a 5-year payback rate, payback span.
Yeah.
We couldn't borrow $10 million and say we'll pay back in 5 years. There's gotta be some dollar amount, but we asked about this exact thing. Do we have the authority to borrow this much money for 5 years? We're told
Like when we buy a truck,
So
right?
buy a
So
truck
when we
every-
have to buy a truck, especially now,
Oh, right.
I
they
am-
have to order them now
Yeah.
2 or 3 years ahead, right? So we have to approve, I'll make up a number, please don't quote me on it. A $600,000 truck that we aren't gonna incur any expense or even see delivery of until like the 28 budget. But we have to do that now. And the reason that we can do that, my understanding, check with your attorney if you'd like. My understanding is because the term of that spending is gonna be 5 years or less, we can do that. If we were to say, we're gonna spend that $600,000 and we wanna do it 10 years, that becomes a bond.
Yeah.
That has to go to the voters. Voters have to approve it.
Okay, I understand a little better, but I don't know.
You don't
I'm not
like it. I
trying to
think
be
you understand it. I think you just don't like it. And so,
No, I don't really understand it. I don't mean to be.
In the why, like, why is that okay?
Yeah, I mean, I just don't understand how you can spend the money because in a truck, I understand it. It's in your budget and you go through it, but this is a new undertaking with the septic system, we'll say, or whatever for the town. I'm just wondering how you can go ahead and spend the money. Do you have a right just in the budget to make those expenditures or agreements and agree to spend any amount of money with,
without having a line in the item.
yeah,
But
yeah.
I get
so
that. I get that.
That's what
And
I'm
honestly,
saying. I don't.
I can't tell you how many times I asked that question. But
Right. So
You guys, you had the same feel, like,
Yeah, I'm
can we
like,
do this?
how can we do this?
Right.
It took me a long time to ask a lot of those same questions, including back to Catherine. How come sometimes we have to bond and sometimes we don't? How come we're like spending this money without asking? And I have come to understand, and I'm probably not explaining it as well as I do finally understand it. This is the next phase, and my view, we'll see if how the board votes. It's the next thing we've got to do to move the town forward. The right thing to do.
In terms of the why is it legal, that's a question that I don't think we can answer. I have complete faith that it is legal, but I can't point to the statute that says, here are the parameters where the board's allowed to do that. I think maybe Chris Sheehan might be able to, he may have looked that up, or maybe Kate McCarthy might just know that off the top of her head, who's the woman who's helped, the woman from the CCRPC who's helping us with all this. She might be able to say, oh yeah, you can, because there's this statute that allows you to borrow this amount of money for this length of time.
Yeah, I don't have
can't
that.
quote it,
But
I'm
me, it's no
confident.
different than a truck. It's no different than a truck.
I don't know, and I'm not against the doing
Yeah,
what your infrastructure and whatever, but I just
yeah,
wondered
it
how
gets
it-
confusing. It does get confusing for
Well,
sure.
particularly with the truck now, because the truck you vote on now doesn't even show up in the budget until 2 or 3 years later.
Right. Yeah, a select board member could, on their very first day, order a truck that they don't see in their term.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
Right, well, I understand the truck deals and some of that, but I think
Yeah.
this is not under a line item or under something that's.
It will be a line item when you pay for it, when
Yeah.
it's a bond.
Right, and the truck we just approved is not in your budget.
Right.
And it hasn't been in the budget and won't be in the next budget. It'll be 2 budgets away, but you didn't have any say in that.
Whatever,
Yeah.
you can ask your own questions, because I just want to protect you people as well, or just to understand it, not against anything, by asking the question.
yeah, no, it's a good question, and it's almost
You asked
exactly
it,
what I asked
yeah,
it
a couple
Peter
times.
to tell you how many times
Right,
I kept like, no, can you come back again? So, Jim had his hand up first. Jim?
Just to comment on Dave's question, I think you're authorizing a contingent future liability that will be for less than 5 years. And it's money being borrowed at 18%. And the amount is $18,000 a year for 5 years. And so if this project, as
0%.
defined, does not go forward, you have in fact authorized the $92,000 expense financed over 5 years at 0% interest with $18,000 in principal to be paid each year going forward.
Yep, $18,500 per year. And if anyone is interested, that means that particular, if that's the route we go, we approve it tonight, we get the results, we say, no way, you can't do it. We're on the hook for $18,500 a year for 5 years. That is $2.61 per $100,000 of home value. So if your home is worth $500,000, that will cost you $13.04. Our best guess, based on last year's, there's a lot of caveats there. Based on last year's tax rate, not on the new one. So it could, the average is gonna cost you maybe $13 a year for 5 years, if that's what we do.
I wasn't finished.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
That was just an anecdotal comment.
Oh, okay, sorry, yeah. Why was I thinking you'd be?
When you watched, you think he was done.
During the course of this evening, I'd like to reference this summary report, which is the summary of the basis of the feasibility study. And I'd like to encourage creatively as we go forward, because we're talking about financing right now. And if you look at this report, you will see even though we asked many times to have the commercial district included in this study, it was not. And I'll come back to that later on. 2, if you look at this report, Jericho Center has a health hazard today, as defined by having potable water supplies within the plume of non-compliant septic systems. And there was a possibility of a joint venture for a sewer system for the center. So since we're talking about this revolving fund with 0% interest, I'd like to encourage the board as you proceed tonight, first, to think of TIF districts. Because if in fact the Riverside project goes forward, it's not appropriate for it to be allocated to the rest of the town. It should be financed over a long period of time by the users of the system through a TIF district. And that would make, in effect, 3 TIF districts. I'd like the board, as they're doing this, to think about expanding this request for money so that we can magnify and multiply this effort on the cheap, because Jericho Center has a potential health hazard. That's defined. You are now accountable for a public statement that this is a hazard and a problem without digging into it. And I think it would behoove all of us to have a parallel, much lower cost, much lower scale project that can piggyback off of everything that's being done by DuBois and King, because sewage in Jericho Center, sewage for the commercial district, and sewage for the corners, sewage is sewage, and soils are soils. So I think that we could magnify the opportunity and multiply the results solving problems as compared to speculating on what might happen in the future. And I'll draw a parallel. Champlain Housing Trust is proposing to build housing, $585,000 a unit. That's an incredible cost versus doing what I just said, smaller scale, direct application. If in fact we solve problems in Jericho Center, in Jericho Corners, and in the commercial district, we can infill very inexpensive ADUs and we can get to our housing goals in a much shorter period of time. So if you keep this in context, I've got some more editorial comments as you proceed. You asked for comments about financing. I'd like to ask the board to consider getting more 0% interest amortized if the project fails over 5 years money for the other areas of the town, most specifically the one with a hazard.
Thank you, Jim. Other public comments, and then I'd like to hear from the board, hear what you guys think. Peter and I are familiar with
Just
it.
have one question.
Yes, sir.
Again, layperson, not up on this, but the 92,000, if you go forward, how do you know what you're proposing to build on the site? I mean, will that fluctuate? What money preliminary studies you have to put into this? So I mean, I'm not sure what you're proposing to build on the site. Don't you have to know that before you can go much forward? I mean, what type of housing you're gonna put in? I understand where you are, and I'm not gonna address it right now, whatever, but just, it seems rather vague with a 92, what are you gonna put there to know how you can go forward? I mean, will the cost studies just keep increasing? Because, okay, now we want to build market value houses, now we want to put in affordable housing. Now we want to do whatever, some
So-
recreational area, I mean,
Sure, so
sorry, that's just.
backing up, and when we got the 100% report out on the feasibility study, at that point, the select board directed DuBois and King to figure out how can we phase this thing in? Because going to just waiting until we could get a bond to build the whole thing out, we would lose all of the development that's gonna happen in Riverside. That's right. So like that development's starting, and then we're gonna spend 5 years planning, designing this giant system. So Catherine had a brilliant idea of like, we can't wait that long. We need to do a phased in approach where we get something up that can catch the new stuff going in now, and then work on doing the whole thing. This PER does cover all three, but it looks at what that first phase is. Now, I don't have handy exactly what we were thinking for the first phase, how many houses, it comes down to, I've come to understand, it comes down to flow, like water flow, so that's based on bedrooms, I guess, so we'll get a lot of that detail of like how many could fit in phase one. So yeah, the 92,000 is to inform us on all that stuff. Right? 184,000, 92,000 of it is ours. That's what we're looking for.
I guess I still have a problem with if you don't know to what degree it's gonna be developed. The cost will just keep going up for preliminary and more studies. I mean,
This
this
should,
is a late procedure.
my understanding is that this is the last sort of study piece, that when we get this information, it's like, here's what you can do, here's how you would do it, here's what you would get. Do you want to do this? So for the feasibility, it was like, look at the entire town. Then we said, okay, we want to look at this area more closely. That's it. Now we're studying sort of the grain size of the conversation was humongous at the outset, and now we've narrowed it on just the Riverside area, and so we're getting much more detail on that. I don't think there's gonna be more studies. What comes out of this is we're gonna go ahead or we're not gonna go ahead based on that information. It is super frustrating. I mean, to me, and I'm sure to everybody, like, oh, we gotta spend a whole bunch more money just to figure out if we can do this or not. Like, when I hear feasibility, I was like, oh, great, so that'll tell us, yep, you can do this. No, you can't. Well, no, you certainly need a second report, which is frustrating, but that's just kind of the process,
Yeah.
the way it works.
I guess just a gray area, just, you don't know what you're what's gonna be on there to build. So that's that's a big question mark.
But I think that's always the way septic's gonna be designed. You don't build it all first and then build the septic. It just
Right.
doesn't work that way. So I think they're always designed to some extent of, hey, here's what we'd like. We'd like some density here. We'd like some mixed use here. We'd like this here.
Right.
And
What can septic, so what septic
Here's
can
what
we
we're looking
looking
for,
for,
what can we do
allow
with
us to do?
yeah,
If you propose too small of a septic and then it turns into a much larger project, you're gonna have to come back to the taxpayer and say, guess what, this is what's gonna go in here, and it's gonna be a heck of a lot more money. The other last question is, I understand the merit of this or whatever, but my central question remains, the town potable water or septic does not have any town-wide plan going forward. So other neighborhoods have issues that are of great concern. And I understand you can only do so much at a time in certain areas. I understand that or whatever. But I don't understand why the town can focus on this so much, but potentially ignore other areas of town that need help from taxpayers. I've been here for nearly 25 years. That's probably a newcomer to many of you. But I've paid my taxes over the years, as much as you have. But to see these projects going forward, other projects also, speed bumps, sidewalks, or whatever, all have merit, or whatever. But if you ignore other parts of the town, just saying, give us money to support these projects, to help these areas, but you're not looking to help other areas that have aging infrastructure and other issues. I think you're.
I hope you don't look at us saying, us doing something tonight as saying, we are only putting everything into Riverside and we're ignoring the rest of the town for the rest of time. I think this town has ignored infrastructure needs for too long. And I think we need to start, this is my feeling, I'm not speaking for the board. I feel we have ignored infrastructure for too long. It's part of why we don't get more smaller houses being built. But I think you've got to start somewhere. If we would start in the center, there'd be people saying, well, why are you starting in the center? There's no room to grow there.
But Riverside is a huge lot, but all this.
Right, so I think you gotta start somewhere, and just because we do something here doesn't mean like, okay, we're gonna wait until this bond's paid off in 30 years before we look at Jericho Center. I don't think that's what we're gonna do. So anyway, I appreciate your comments. Dave, one more quick.
Yes,
Sorry,
say the river
sorry,
side.
Laura wanted to respond. Go ahead.
excuse,
And the difference here, it seems like, is that we're talking about a municipal wastewater system, and ultimately the people who are hooked into it will pay the usage fees, which is really different from, say, an HOA or a private home, who I don't think this board wants to ignore, but it's very different in terms of investment.
No, I agree, but this is, if you've been living in a home for 25, 35 years, there's no plan to address existing issues that are only gonna grow in other parts of the town. So if you concentrate on 10% or less of the town and ignore the needs that are growing in 90% of the town, that's where I have difficulty with,
Appreciate your
and I
comment.
agree.
Appreciate your comments, Bob.
I agree on that.
Can I get to Dave now? Sorry, go ahead, Dave.
yes, some of you may not know, or whatever, I owned Greenmount Lumber, and then I owned and tried to develop there, and I built the grocery store and so forth, and I also own a lot of land in the commercial district and so forth, and I talked to DuBois and King, and I haven't followed it maybe as much as I should. I apologize to the board that I'm not knowledgeable on everything, but I don't know how you're doing your septic. Number one, you can build up to say 6,000 gallons of the magic number, and then so on, or how many sites you're looking at to see how much septic you got to begin with and how that ended up. But I gave that information to DuBois and King. For example, at Greenmount Lumber or Tetro or wherever you want to call it, by Park Street, we had thousands and thousands of gallons of septic there, but it's also good building area to some extent too, but we monitored for system, you could build 30,000 gallons or whatever. And I don't know what's been considered. I have another site that I told them behind NATO lumber that's got thousands and thousands of gallons of septic. And no one has discussed this with me, and it's even been tested for that types of things in use. So I don't know how I fit in. I don't want to take all the time of the select board tonight, but I don't think I haven't been kept abreast of it, and as much land that I own and the septic capacities and what I might build. There's 70 acres that I own still in that area. Now, I don't know what you call Riverside either, because you've got high density, you know, in around the sawmill, where that ends. Does it go down as far as the airstrip or down toward the commercial, down where the other is? So I'm concerned with that. Maybe I don't want to take all your time.
Yeah,
But
I just wanted to
also-
comment that that feasibility study is on the website. And so it's got tons and tons and tons of information.
Okay, I'll look
claim
at
to
that.
be like fluent in it. It's a lot of pages.
But I got one more comment.
Okay.
Whatever you build or whatever you do here, I know you gotta choose, you can't build it at once like these people are worried about things, and you gotta start somewhere. But you made a very good comment, Eric. The infrastructure, water on the Jericho and whatever, and the roads, and in this center of town, this town is way behind a lot of others for infrastructure and trying to move forward. But I would comment, whatever is built, I know there's discussion down by the school or whatever. And I don't care if it's David Villeneuve here in area or anyone, one person shouldn't be benefit from them versus all equal or whatever, some system set up to handle this in a proper way. That's my biggest concern. If this is looked at by the town when you move forward. So, you know, that I wouldn't get a benefit of one if you built it by the school, I could pump from where my land starts, and somebody else could, but so many were left out. How that's all handled, how that's set up is gonna be the real key to me. That's it, thank you.
Thank you, David. You have one last
One
comment?
quick comment, just hopefully to move this thing along a little bit. In the early 70s, we used to do a lot of things, and we called them prototypes. So that we would take a form and then allow the variable data to be added to the prototype. I hope that you could consider what you're doing tonight as a prototype, so that Milo White Road's water shortage could come before this board on a very short-term basis to be uplifted, if you say, on a prototype document, taking what you've got here, so that you start moving that project towards solution. That Jericho Center, because this study as written has serious errors in it. The septic capacity for Jericho Center on the Rivers' property is greater than the capacities that are being discussed for Riverside. I farmed the property for 11 years. Whitcomb wanted to buy all of that land material, not the land itself, from Mary Alice Rivers to build the circumventual highway because of the quality of the gravel on that property. That property has profound capacities. It was ignored when I brought it to DuBois and King. So if we can look at this study and say, we can still continue to pursue using tonight's prototype to move forward on these other essential projects and come up with an organizational method and a way to do it, then we can, 92,000 charged to the people that are going to benefit from it through a municipal bond, which is less than half of the cost of what I have to pay for my money right now, and amortized over 20 years. that's how we move past all these things. So if we can sort of come up with a constructive way of saying, we're learning as we're going and we're gonna do things differently going forward, building off of this study that's been done. And this is just one of many, because I know with the Rivers' property offered by the fire department in 2016, October, that's 9 years ago, to be free to the town. And
Okay, Jim, I'm gonna pause you right there. I appreciate your comments. Appreciate everybody's comment. Yeah.
Dave, are you sort of aware of and tuned into the wastewater task force?
Yes,
Okay, 'cause I think that you.
I will be going to the next meeting and I know I'm ignorant for what I've attained and the time that I spent on it. Well, I will tell you that I'll be working with my engineers and get up to speed on this and be able to make comment to that task force and
That's what I
you
wanted,
people.
that's what I
I'll
wanted
be
to
much
say.
more aware, but I did want to start by coming tonight, seeing what I could learn, make you aware of a few things, you know.
Yeah, we
And
appreciate that.
interested in the
Appreciate the
money
input.
trail.
Yeah, thank you, Dave.
Thank you. Okay, select board, what do you guys think? Questions? Do you have questions of what you're being asked to approve tonight? Those of you that aren't on the task force?
Oh, I have some questions on the application itself.
That thing that I skipped over and you know, that. thing?
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, I didn't read any of that.
Well, anyway, I just, one is a general view because, you know, most of the state revolving loan programs are funded by federal dollars. And does anybody know whether these federal dollars are going to continue? And because I know the state budget is going to be much more constrained this year itself.
Well, does it matter because if they're, well,
My
I know-
understanding, so the work that DuBois and King have done so far and the task force, as of right now, we know that we are getting half of that covered by the CWSRF. Where they get that money to cover it, I don't have the capacity.
Yeah, because, I mean, because that may impact the future of when you can build, I mean, depending on what happens from the federal government.
Yeah.
I mean, that is something.
But in terms of the question for tonight, that's not our problem.
Right.
That's the CWSRF.
Okay, now the other thing under expenditures and system debt, because you're talking about system operate, it talks about, you know, the year-to-date, you know, revenue and projected budget and stuff of the town. So it's a system debt, what they're talking about for the systems itself they're building, because we have outstanding debt with the new, you know, with what's left over for the town plus the brand new building and which if it should be there, it's not zero.
What are you talking about? What do you mean greater building?
what page?
Before we do that, here's a question.
This is what you gotta prove.
No, let me ask my question. Do we need to, are we approving what's on that those yellow pieces of paper, like that exact language? And if not, can we just vote on this decision to borrow this money? Or to approve the 184,000, and then can Catherine and Paula go through in great detail, like to make sure that's exactly what it needs to be? And do we need to sort of do that by committee, or can that be done just Catherine and Paula? Or does it have to be reconciled before we can vote? I'm worried that you're gonna turn something up, like, oh crap, now we can't vote on this because that document isn't correct.
Right, like I came to a meeting prepared with all the stuff that I came with, and I didn't know that this actual application was, what, I thought we were approving that and then
the application
and then that moves on and
Right,
it's covered and read by lawyers like every other thing we saw.
Yeah, because we have to sign it.
Yeah, that could be, it's a question for Chris Shaheen. I do not know.
Yes, my question is just, can we vote to approve the decision to borrow the money? And not, even if there's a mistake on that yellow document?
When does the form have to be in?
We need, I don't want to wait until another meeting.
No, we can't, no.
No, my question is like,
No.
this week.
Chris, do you have that answer? When does this application have to be in?
I think we have some time. My understanding is that it already went to the state, they looked at it, and they sent it back because it didn't have the signatures on it. So I think they've already taken a look at it.
Yeah, because I worry about, you know, whether there's an issue with the loan, you know, because these are, you know,
I feel comfortable letting you do that, Catherine, putting it out there, you having that conversation, if there are typos or anything there.
So, okay, if we have a little bit of time, then you and I and Chris can talk
Yeah.
about these numbers.
And we could just make a motion, if the board decides, someone can make a motion to approve,
I was signed the back.
So
that's.
I think our thing is we don't want to sign that yet until you and Catherine have sat down together.
No,
But we want to say we will sign this, once
provided,
Catherine-
once Catherine and Paul have vetted the exact language.
But we agree to sign it once
Gotcha.
she's done that,
Okay.
and we are
Yep.
agreeing to $92,000.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm just gonna pause your
Questions?
your question, but are there questions about what we covered tonight that are outside of the little details of this thing?
I saw SJ's hand up, but I don't see it.
I was asking the board, I was kind of done.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah,
I'm on the committee, so I don't have any questions.
yeah, I just want to make sure that, did what we present, was it clear? Do you understand what we're doing? Okay.
I mean, that's what happens. I mean, this is the fate, because even to get to this point, it's the steps, because you have to do that step first. Now we have to do this step. And then step 2 is actually get have to borrow for the final design. And step 3 is then you finally go to construction. So I mean, there's all these different steps that have to be happen along the way.
Okay, so since there's no other questions, I don't mind spending a little bit of time understanding your concern, because I don't want, I'm not saying it's not a
That's okay. I
legit
mean,
concern.
I can talk to Paula and then you guys can.
Do none of them none of them affect the big question of, do we want to take on?
I
this
just want to
debt?
make sure that we have the actual correct information going in about where the town's
Well,
debt
where we
stands
currently stand.
in terms of debt.
Okay.
That was on here.
But
That's not the one,
And the
it's
building,
it's
yeah. But
actually,
that's
it's a different
different.
question.
Oh, okay.
that's
Oh,
much different.
okay. I see.
There was another
Much-
question under the expenditures
Yeah,
and
because
systems
there's
that
two
says,
different-
what's the
those
applicant's
are-
total long-term outstanding debt?
Oh, you
Yeah,
think that
that-
the town
that should-
needs to be on there?
The garage and the bond that we
Yeah.
have for this building.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Mhm.
I think it does, because you're talking about operating management before that, and then even the one that's the other one, is, are you just talking about our,
Well,
building and vehicles, but then that number for building and vehicles is not correct either. I mean,
As people think about whether they're running again next year, one of you is gonna have to be Captain.
Right,
You have to be
exactly,
Bill,
exactly.
Stuff like that,
Yeah.
that's a huge catch that
Yeah,
there's zero chance that I would catch it, so. Appreciate that, Catherine. Okay, so.
so I'm gonna try to make a motion. I'm gonna make a motion to approve the CWSRF application for the PER report by DuBois and King to be signed by the board chair,
No, it's all of us.
to be signed by all of us after Catherine and Paula have gone through and checked the data within the document.
Second that.
Motion seconded by Laura Crane. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. All right, we got ourselves a PER underway.
So you guys will, maybe the 3 of you with Chris will reconcile that. And then when that's clean, you'll send an email, Paul will send an email saying, hey, come in and sign it. And we'll all get in there within a day or two.
Right.
As soon as possible.
Yeah, great.
Be great to do it tomorrow. I think Chris gone. Chris, I think.
She should be
He
here
got the eye,
presenting
he got
next.
the eye vote, man. I think we should, I think time is.
Yeah, I want to get it go. I don't want to have it be like not get our results back by
Right.
April. These people have really good questions and I'm
Yeah,
hoping that
exactly.
if they're
So
covered.
Get that signed tomorrow if you can.
Okay, next on the agenda is review the discussion about the Municipal Planning Grant, the MPG. And note what will be applied for by Chris. Chris, I hope you got this one. I don't have anything on this one.
Yep, this is all me.
Okay.
All right. All right, good evening. I'm here tonight to ask for the select board support for a municipal planning grant application and for your signature on the required resolution form that demonstrates that support. So the grant will be up to $30,000 to fund a development scenario and fiscal impact analysis for the proposed wastewater system in Riverside. The total cost is estimated to be around 50,000. The grant would cover 30,000, with the remaining 20,000 needing to be included somewhere in the FY27 budget. The study is going to build on and complement the findings of the preliminary engineering report that we were just talking about. The preliminary engineering report will estimate the costs to build and operate the system and recommend annual user fees. What this additional study will do, and that the PER will not do, will look at development scenarios within the service area, compare how many units could be built under different levels of investment, and estimate potential user fees and tax revenues under each scenario. This would answer a lot of the questions that have come up during public comment period earlier in the meeting. We have not identified any funding source for this type of a study other than this municipal planning grant. So it would be important that we get this grant application in and hopefully it gets funded. As Jericho moves into the preliminary engineering phase, now is the time to gather accurate information about how the system could be financed, including through new programs like the Community Housing Infrastructure Program, or CHIP. I think it was mentioned earlier, a TIF district, looking at a TIF district. The CHIP program is a program established by the state that is very similar to that, tailored specifically to infrastructure projects like wastewater systems. This is also the right time to understand the connection between wastewater and land use, and to begin engaging the community on why investing in the municipal system now makes sense. We would anticipate hiring a multidisciplinary consultant team to analyze development scenarios, assess fiscal costs and benefits, and help illustrate a vision for a compact, walkable community. Right now, the Municipal Planning Grant is the only funding source that we have to support this type of work. I'd be happy to answer any questions you would have about this proposal and the application.
Is this what was recommended by the interns over the summer? This is one of the big points that they had gotten back to us was community outreach is really critical when you're dealing with wastewater systems. Is this dotted line over?
Thank you for asking that question. Yes, so there were 5 series of recommendations. The first one was I feel like you're a plant. The first series of recommendations was making sure that we have the right information. One of those pieces of information is this type of financial information that we would then use to inform the public engagement that we have. It's like critical to answer like all of the questions that come up about cost, who's going to pay for it, how's it going to finance, what do I get out of it? This is the type of information we would get out of this type of analysis.
But this $30,000 would be coming out of this year's budget, or help me understand. 20,000, excuse me.
It would come out of
Okay.
The new budget.
next year's budget. Yeah.
Thank you.
One more build.
Why would it, because you're not gonna start until after July?
Right, because the grant application isn't due until November. So it'll take a while to. Yeah.
And we haven't budgeted for it.
Right, we haven't budgeted.
We're not borrowing money, we want to spend money. And we can't just
So
spend money.
we're asking to approve application for the grant now,
Because
but we're not likely to start the study until after July 1st, is what you're saying.
That's what I'm saying.
I guess that's an ask to Chris.
Yeah, that's correct. The application is due November 3rd. Decision will be made, I think, like by the end of December, early January, and then the funding would become available for us to use July 1st. And during that time, if it's awarded, we would need to put out a procurement for a consultant, bring them on board. So we would still be working on it, but we just wouldn't have the funding to actually have them doing the work yet.
Okay.
Do we ignorance on this. We're approving the application for the grant right now. Do we need to approve the grant, like taking the grant once we get it? No, it's okay.
You can always say no. What we've learned.
Okay.
We don't have to approve it once we get it, I think we do.
We don't have to accept it if it's offered to us.
But the
No,
select board
we
needs to
have to
approve it, is my
approve it.
question.
We have to approve it, yes.
Right, that's,
We have to approve the
he's
application.
not asking about accepting, he's asking about, do we have to?
I'll vote again. Do we need to vote twice here?
Right.
No, you only vote once right now to say that you're going to apply for the grant.
And then in December, if we got the grant.
We'll be
do we-
voting to
Yes,
approve it.
that's
accept
correct.
it.
Exactly.
Yes.
Thank
I was with you.
I was too. She said, her question was, can we approve it and then not accept it?
No, that wasn't our
That
question.
wasn't my question.
That's
That's
fine.
Well, but right. You approve.
Regardless, we all got there.
We're
We
just-
all got, we need.
better together, guys.
Right.
All right.
Teamwork makes the dream.
That's why I got the best now.
Exactly. See?
See?
Told you it'd be good.
All
Right,
I think that's my question.
so we need to make a motion to authorize a submission for the fiscal year 2026 Municipal Planning Grant, Jericho Village Wastewater Build Out Fiscal Impact Analysis.
Motion.
Yeah, sure.
I second that.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Thank you.
Thank you, Chris.
What am I saying? I guess that's it.
I like your background, Chris.
Yeah, it is pretty.
I have 6-foot ceilings in my basement, but thank you.
All right, where are we at now? We are at Lee River. Update on the Lee River sidewalk.
There's a presentation now.
Oh, did Eric, did you close your presentation?
Look, okay?
It looks good.
All right,
Okay.
all right, great. Well, thank you for spending some time with me this evening. Paul thought it'd be a good idea for us to give the town select board an update on this project. It's been around for quite a while, unfortunately. So this was a
Probably put some pavers in by then. In my hand, piece by piece.
I believe Cy Sarapelli from the CCRPC is also sending us online. He was earlier. I'm not sure if he's still on.
I'm here. Hello, everyone.
Oh, great. So as I mentioned, this is a sidewalk project that is being funded partially by a TAP grant, Transportation Alternatives grant. It was awarded to the town back in 2017. Here we are in 2025. We're still chugging along.
Anyway, at it.
Picking away at it.
Probably could have built their own bricks for it.
So just a quick agenda, just to give you a brief review of the corridor, sort of the timeline of events, what we've done to date and where we're heading. Give you an update of the plan and then sort of next steps, and then I'll open the floor up to questions or comments. So again, this is the Lee River Road, essentially from Vermont Route 15 down to Sunnyview Drive, proposing a new sidewalk. The original design had some infrastructure included that had sidewalk and then a crossing of Vermont Route 15. And I'll show you in future slides that some of that work has been taken out or been revised as we move forward. So sort of a timeline of events to give everyone a recap. We had submitted 60% design plans back in 2019. So 60% design gets us to where we can begin to negotiate. It identifies our limits of work for the entire project and identifies if we have any impacts to resources and private property owners along the corridor. So once those are approved by V-Trans, who's the oversight committee, who's managing the grant, that allows the town to go into negotiations with property owners. And that's unfortunately where we sort of halted. So again, so we submitted the 60% plans. They were approved by V-Trans. That allows us to go into the right-of-way phase. We had drafted right-of-way plans, and we had begun property owner negotiations at that point. And they halted. And then that little horizontal line there is kind of where the project halted. That sort of combination of COVID and some of the things sort of stopped the project. And they sort of picked up back again in 2023. We had looked at revising the design to minimize or mitigate impacts to abutting property owners along the corridor. So I presented those alternatives back to the select board in 2023. Concept was approved, an alternative was selected from that meeting, and we advanced 60% design plans, again, revised preliminary plans, and those were submitted in November of 2024 to V-Trans. They were accepted, and that allows us to go into the NEPA clearance review by V-Trans at FHWA, and we just got that back in August.
What's NEPA?
NEPA is National Environmental Policy Act. So
Right.
basically, any federal dollars requires us to do a cultural and natural resource investigation to see if there's impacts, make sure we're properly mitigating those resources. So V-Trans reviewed that, and that was submitted to FHWA for approval, and we finally got clearance in August. So it took almost 8 months for NEPA to get cleared. And then since then, we've drafted updated right-of-way plans for the project based off our revised preliminary design. So just a brief recap. This is what the original layout was. You could one last one. Kind of hard to see, but we had a 15 Vermont crossing of Vermont Route 15, which included what they're called RFBs, or rapid repeating flashing beacons. You see them on 15 near Browns River Middle School. So similar applications there. Obviously, this is a pretty sketchy piece of road. So we wanted to make sure that there was adequate warning devices for vehicular traffic coming down the hill, for any potential pedestrians. Sidewalk would connect to the existing sidewalk that's along the east side, the south side of 15.
If you hold control while you mouse over it, it'll become, like, hold the control.
That's okay, all right. That's pretty sweet. Thank you. So there's an existing sidewalk out here today, and then we would connect to that sidewalk. And originally, the intent was to keep the sidewalk along this south side all the way to Sunnyview Drive.
That's back to 2019. That was the thinking back then.
Correct, yeah. And sort of above, this is the typical section, what that would look like. Here's the roadway infrastructure. Here's Lee River Road. There we had a green space panel and then a 5-foot sidewalk on the right side along the south side here. This is where the proposed sidewalk was. And then we'd have a crossing at the Sunnyview Drive intersection. That was the original design. So key element design changes moving forward is we move the sidewalk to the other side of the road after the Plains Road intersection. We've narrowed the road to mitigate impacts to abutting property owners. So out there today is about 26 feet, 24 or 26 feet of asphalt. We're going to be reducing that to 22 feet to allow for space for a new sidewalk. And we've eliminated the entire component of the crossing of Vermont Route 15 pedestrian crossing. My understanding is that CCRPC is moving forward with a study to evaluate the intersection. So the town thought best to just eliminate that from this project moving forward.
The new plan does not include crossing Route 15.
Does not.
Right.
Dan, can I give a clarification, please?
Absolutely.
Yeah, the Route 15 intersection is not a current project at CCRPC, but the idea is to separate this intersection as a separate project area, and then the town can request for a scoping study in the future so that it can be analyzed in detail, because the crosswalk on a curve section is really a challenging location and there's like, it's a safety hazard, like people coming down that hill, there's a lot of chances of getting hitting a pedestrian or getting into a crash. So from safety point of view, when I was talking to Linda, Paula, and we all discussed this, maybe it should, and also the VTrans supervisor, project supervisor, that maybe we should separate the intersection out and then look at this as a separate project area and do a deeper analysis for this intersection. So that's so it could be a future project for scoping that might include a different type of intersection geometry and sidewalks and crosswalks and other improvements at this intersection. So it's not a current project at CCRPC. I just want to clarify that.
Thank you.
So this colored up version is the current proposed plan for the sidewalk project. Similar application between 15 and Plains Road is we would connect the sidewalk that's out there today and run that to the intersection. Sorry, wrong button. So we connect the sidewalk up to the Plains Road intersection and then a pedestrian crossing quasi-diagonal to proposed sidewalk along the northern side of the River Road, all the way down to the Sunnyview Drive intersection. So this would be curb sidewalk, so there's no green space.
If you go back to that previous one. There's 2 orange sidewalks on there.
Here's this piece.
Yeah, does that piece exist right now?
No, it stops right here,
Where does it start?
right here.
Oh, okay. Where is that? So it's like a,
It basically,
It's like
it dies
like a
at
30
the
foot-
driveway.
where doesn't it start on Route 15? Like, doesn't it start?
So there's no formal,
It's like 30 feet of sidewalk in the middle of nowhere, basically.
correct.
From
It's
nowhere.
basically
From nowhere to nowhere
promoting-
currently.
people to walk along the shoulder of Route 15 or go across the street. There's no pavement markings out there today.
Yeah.
But they can cross here to get to the sidewalk on the other side of the 15. But there's no signage or warning devices out there today.
So can I ask, I'm gonna ask a question. And I know that the 15 pieces, the crossing 15 is not what we're talking about, but if we put this sidewalk here, that certainly implies that we're gonna be crossing 15 right here.
Not
No.
necessarily, you could go down that same side of the road down further, going down that and then crossing.
Cross here.
Because what the way they had it before was, like I said, you're crossing at Lee River to Plains Road, down, yep, you're crossing, now go down and you're crossing to the triangle, then you're crossing on that corner. So we took out that piece to look at it a little bit differently to see what else that could be done. I mean, I don't know personally, but I'm thinking like if you maybe could continue down that same side down a little bit further. No, down the other side, yep,
On 15.
and go down 15 that way, but I don't know.
Yeah, we tried that.
Yeah.
That's what the select board really
That,
wanted.
that other
But
thing
she
is
said
so
no.
dangerous, like
Yeah.
a tractor trailer truck's never gonna.
No, it's not.
My question is just basically, do we know where a crosswalk is gonna be allowed by V-Trans? And if we. and if
Not without a scoping study.
But can we make it educated? I certainly can't, probably no one, maybe you can, but none of us can.
It's already
Hold
there.
on a second, hold on a second, Jim. I just want, my feeling is that this should come right here, cross here and cross here. I'm just wondering, are we committing, by putting this sidewalk here, are we committing to crossings 15 down here? Are we not tipping our hand on a secret, but are we laying the groundwork to cross down here? And then if V-Trans says you can't cross down there, was this all just a waste of time and money?
I kind of see where Peter's getting. I thought when I had, I'm sure it's on me. I thought when we were cutting out some of the scope, I thought we were ending at the top of that diagonal crosswalk.
Well,
I thought.
I
for
had-
now.
I was sure
I
that
had
that
asked
would
the
be.
question about continuing it that way, but you can't cross because the people you're behind, the traffic's behind you turning onto that meeting, that cut through. So when someone crosses, they're not, you're crossing towards the island.
If you go
Someone's
straight,
behind
if you continue
you,
straight and you go right straight across the island.
right? It was that, that's what I believe we were told, is that you couldn't continue it straight across from where it is right now, because people turning from Lee River through that cut through, you're not paying attention to those people.
behind
It's
you.
only a one way.
Yeah, I thought like Eric, they were stopping.
Your share, sorry. So you're gonna. No, I can't see yours. Just kidding. So you're gonna end it basically here. And then extend. You're gonna extend this little guy right here.
Yep.
You're gonna extend him to, I think, here.
Yeah.
And then you're gonna diagonal across to here.
Mhm.
And so it can't go here because why? Because of the.
My understanding, and like I said, I could be, it was because you can't continue the sidewalk up to that corner and cross, because crossing to the island, you cannot see behind you and cars are just veering through that cut through.
I don't think he's saying to the island though. I think he's saying.
Oh, just to the
I would-
corner.
Sorry.
Because people are, so what Paul is saying is people are gonna come whipping around here. And come around this corner heading this way, is that what you're saying?
Mhm.
And then there'd be somebody in the crosswalk that they weren't really able to see because they were back here.
Except that, I mean, that's all stop sign. No one's whipping, everyone's crawling, everyone's
Yeah.
crawling.
Yeah.
But I'm not saying Paul's not right. I can imagine someone
Yeah.
someone besides Paula said to Paula, you can't be doing that because you have your back to the traffic.
Yeah.
I just don't wanna, I just don't wanna build the sidewalk and commit ourselves to something that we're gonna go like, oh crap, we can't cross there. That sidewalk is doing nothing.
Well,
I agree.
It's not doing nothing. I mean, it's currently being used by
You can see the
people.
other piece of
Yeah.
sidewalk.
Yeah, I do think
Are
that,
people using it? What are they,
Yeah,
They
that's,
are.
what are they using it for?
this is my big
They,
question.
so people do walk this road, they walk in the road, or they walk in the grass.
So in 2017, what kicked this off? Was like
The Trails Committee,
okay, did the community ask us for this, or is the trans community said like, oh, this would be, like, I just wonder.
there was movement from the Trails Committee thinking that this was, a good way because people, there's lots of folks from Sunnyview go over to Joe's.
And that was the idea, was Sunnyview is a neighborhood, let's get them connected as a part of building all the walkability throughout the whole town.
There was, what also triggered this was a larger, the town had funded a feasibility study for, bicycle pedestrian, like sort of master plan for this area. And this road was identified as one of those that would benefit from pedestrian, combinations.
I think to Peter's point, I hear his point exactly. I don't think, other than cost, which is a big deal, I don't think it hurts us to have a sidewalk installed here. If we decided to do exactly what you're saying somewhere down the road and we really wanted to cross here,
And if it was allowed, say.
and it was allowed and it worked out in the study, then we could just add it there. I mean, it's a very busy little section of town. It's not a horrible place to have sidewalks on both sides of the road. Yep, go to that fire department, fire extinguisher though, or hydrant. Yeah, that's right in the way.
That's inconveniently in the way.
Anyway, sorry, you're welcome to share again.
Okay.
I thought that would help.
That was helpful, actually.
Okay.
So extending the sidewalk on the northern side. We have curb and sidewalk. You can see, it's kind of hard to see, but basically the back of sidewalk is kind of where the existing edge of pavement is today. So you can see how much we're shifting the roadway and narrowing the roadway, and that allowed us to minimize the impacts primarily along this piece of the corridor. Is that you can see the red lines are our approximate existing right-of-way lines, the town's right-of-way, and these are the blue are the property lines. So we have no impacts to this property area anymore. We've identified and we've minimized impacts to the Tremble property, limited impacts to the Ellis property. That will hopefully allow us to get through the right-of-way phase a lot quicker. So we've eliminated some of the property owner impacts that have hampered the project in the past.
We're not gonna, because that's for the last one, ground to a halt.
The Sweetser property was the one that.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that, okay. But this moment of like the right of way stuff, that's where the problems popped up, but you think that they've all been navigated, that'll be.
Not all, there are still property owner impacts, there are some new property owners since we last started this process.
Yeah.
So until we start a negotiation process with those owners, we can't say for certain.
Yep, okay.
And above is sort of the typical section roadway that would be through Lee River Road from Plains Road to Sunnyview Drive. Would be, again, 9-foot travel lanes and 2-foot shoulders with curb sidewalk directly adjacent to the roadway.
That's smaller, but that's like fire department.
I was thinking about the fire department.
If we've asked them, they don't have any issues with.
It's a straight section. It's wide enough for a emergency vehicle. So we have not personally asked the fire department if they have an issue with this width, but they shouldn't have. I have pretty thorough experience in turning movements and the emergency vehicle access, and they shouldn't have an issue with this section of the way. It's per V-Trans. Vermont has roadway design standards, and that falls within those standards for width.
Okay, good.
What do we need to do tonight?
Nothing tonight. This is really just an update. So just sort of identifying sort of next steps is we've submitted draft right-of-way plans to V-Trans for their internal review. Once they approve them, we've also given them all the documentation, sort of identifying adequate deed research back, adequate amount of time to make sure that whoever signing potential rights to do this work is the right person to do it. So that once they approve it, then the town can begin negotiations with property owners. And if it's a quick process, then we can get into the final design plans and construction bid documents. That will be the next steps. What's the timeline on those things?
I know it's all.
It's all right of way dependent. If we can get plans final right of way approved by, I would say 3 months is being aggressive to get right of way plans complete.
That's a short amount of time.
Yeah, I would say 3 to 6 months for right of way.
Yep.
And then it would be another probably 8 weeks for final plans, and then 4 to 6 weeks for contract documents.
What was the last one? So
it could be fall.
Yeah, so we're sort of targeting as having everything complete sometime in July, August timeframe.
Everything complete, the sidewalk in position?
No, advertised for construction.
Okay.
And then there wouldn't be enough time in this season, 2026 season to start, but it could be something that's like ready on the books for a contractor to start first thing April, like 2027, May 2027.
Yeah, because the tip that was just approved last night has the Lee River sidewalk, a certain amount of money to be spent in fiscal year 2026 and then construction in 2027.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Questions accepted.
Hopefully, crossing our fingers.
That's right.
Been here before.
But that was the tip that was passed last night.
Are questions accepted?
This wasn't one of the ones I mentioned. This is just an update, so.
I would like as part of this next step to, I would like us to do a study for crossing 15 to, start preparing now. I understand this is not a go, but to speed up any
Fully-
sidewalk to
I
nowhere.
would fully support that endeavor as
But
somebody.
that's a whole other, that's like another process entirely, right? Like unrelated to this.
Yeah,
That's
that,
something that you could ask the
the RPC who's on the phone right now.
It's a UPWP project.
Yeah,
So-
UPWP applications will be rolling out sometime in December or like November ending or December early. And they're usually due like third week of January. So really strongly recommend like applying for a scoping study for that intersection, which will start next fiscal year, like July
Yeah.
1st.
Large list that you could have to pick and choose from the UPWP.
Amazing. Love it.
Does the town do snow clearing on the sidewalks? I don't know.
Yes, we contract that out.
Contract it out. And I'm not doing, this wasn't one of the ones I mentioned for public comment, so appreciate your update.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Or any questions
Next.
accepted? No, or no?
No, just off of that.
Next on the agenda is discussion of town meeting reimagined kickoff, input from citizens. I don't have a ton to add here, but I know we received a really nice thorough document. My only comment is I was really disappointed with the turnout,
Yeah, it was much smaller this year than last year.
very disappointed. with the turnout.
Whether it says it was a nice day or if people were busy with it, but it was much smaller.
Allows way too few people to have an input in a really important movement.
I think that for the first one, everyone was like, oh, this is new, this is exciting, and I want to be involved, and now we're at the second one. Got it.
Yeah.
So that's.
But the problem is, the whole point was having to.
Getting at it, but like,
Get started early,
But
so you don't have the chaos that the town meeting reimagined.
Yeah.
people
Anyway.
want their one town.
Anyway, people, and I'm not trying to shame them, they're not coming, but I was really bummed that we didn't get more input.
It was really a very small crowd. I mean, total was only 50 people. That much, at best.
Just wasn't.
So, but, so I mean, the big deal was. It's hard to say, I mean, because things were at the library, things that, they've been talking about a long time. Getting the recreation committee coming back, I mean. And they can do that anytime they want, really, because there is a charter that exists.
The rec committee, I keep hearing about bringing that one.
Yeah. I know, the big news was everybody wanted a pool this year.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. But we did, but I think it's, just posted on the town website, if they haven't already posted it.
Is there anything specific we needed to?
Yeah, I didn't really prepare much are we gonna enter those things into the public record?
That's what I don't know, it's like, I read through it, I was like, oh, that's a good idea, that's like, I was like.
Yeah.
Things that I'm like, oh, that's a really cool idea, and I'm like, oh, that's not really us, like, there was something,
Right.
Like the library thing, I was like, oh, that's cool.
But the library,
Board's not
Did
gonna
we
do
have that
that.
already?
but the library has, their town library always has a library thing.
It's a specific one.
Right.
If somebody wanted, to be able to borrow a ramp, portable ramp,
Yeah, we had
so
talked
that
about
if they had a visitor.
Yeah.
That's mobile.
Awful.
And that had been talked about once with using using some ARPA funds, because it wasn't that expensive.
Thanks, Bob.
Or it could be just, purchased and put in the library. It's not a very expensive item, some of those portable ramps. I mean, so that, and it's a nice idea. I mean, but
So there were some things here, I was like, that's a really cool idea, that doesn't feel like that's a select board task. And then something like, oh, the select board could take leadership on that. It doesn't, here's my fear. Exactly what Amy said about it, sort of like, oh, it was cool, let's all show up, oh, it wasn't that big a deal, so now less people showed up. And so now our understandable and pretty valid response is like, well, there weren't many people there, so we don't really need to do anything with this document. Oh, so now 50 people who showed up are like, oh, I watched the video, and they ignore the note anyway. I'm not like advocating like, oh, you gotta do all this stuff. But I just feel like it's kind of this death spiral of like, oh, well, people didn't really show up, so we can't put a lot of credence in what they said, so we don't do anything. Oh, don't bother to show up next time. I don't know.
I know, because it's difficult, because you have some of the things they say, this table said this, but yet another table said was less enthusiastic.
Yeah.
Didn't think it was necessary. You know, I mean. Some people would like to just move into all mail-in ballots rather than just, you know, having to sign up for it.
Yeah, I'm just brainstorming. I guess maybe,
But I think it's important to put on the website then.
yeah, I'm wondering if maybe we should have, before we put it on the agenda, come up with a quick little, I mean, I know his document was very thorough, but maybe just do like, here's what we heard, here's the document, but like as at the select board meeting, so that we're not just ignoring it. Like, hey, here's what we heard, boom, here's this slide, and you know, and just kind of walk through it, because I don't really just want to throw up a wall of text. I don't want to hide it from anyone. We'll definitely put it on the website.
Right.
Right.
Make it available, but it's not particularly thrilling reading.
You know, I mean, the one thing that people thought really liked was that short-term emergency assistance. I mean, that was talked about, but I think it all came up basically.
The water one.
No, it's just in general.
No, just like if I get flooded and I don't have a kitchen,
Yeah,
I'm not gonna call FEMA about that or call the Red Cross, but
the water thing kind of went with that, right? Or was it separate from the water, the Bob's thing? So
Oh,
like-
no, whole other thing.
Like a basement floods.
This was like Nashville Road floods and I can't get in my house and I need a place, I need someone to bring me dog food, I need someone who knows how to
Okay.
pump out basements. And then I call the town hall and Paul answers and says, oh yeah, our basement pump guy is Bob Smith, who lives over on Sunnyview, and he has a pump that he can come, he said he'll come out and help people have a flood. So just like a resource of like people who can do things, who are willing to do them for the community. So you can call town hall and say, I have this problem because of some natural disaster, can someone help me?
But going along with that is what Bob was advocating for, was a small loan.
No, that's different.
Yeah, but
See, I thought they were combined.
I thought they were combining, yeah,
I don't think so.
our table is, I think.
Okay, oh, maybe your table did.
That's the thing.
Okay,
You
yep.
take, that's the
Yep.
thing. People bring something up in that big meeting,
Yep.
and then each group kind of breaks it apart differently.
Yep.
Can we like, I like your idea that we return to this topic maybe in 2 weeks, but can we say like, oh, here were the 5 main themes we saw, and like here within this theme, here were those ideas, like look at it that way, because I did read it. There's some great ideas,
Right.
and all of them we can.
Some I'm like, I'm not excited about that, but oh, I'm excited about that.
But maybe that's a good thing for have a public comment here too, to say, oh,
Right.
you know, we
Right.
can talk about it more as a community.
Yeah, because if it's on the website and you tell people that's there, maybe somebody else will make comments.
Well, look, and oh, I have a great idea. I want to come to, the
You know,
Thursday night. I think that should probably be our.
it was also interesting that people talked about just, there was a comment about cleaning up too many committees and then combining them. And here we are talking, other groups saying, no, we gotta get them.
We need another
Or 2 more committees, actually, it was.
If only everyone would agree all the time, things would be so much easier, you know?
Yeah.
This is low hanging fruit that we could just pick off, like if we want to say yes, let's buy a rate.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe identifying some of that.
Yeah.
And then some of it seems to be, we could delegate to different committees.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Even if it's not us doing it, we can say, library board, something they would like to be putting the budget.
And some of it we're already.
Working on,
doing,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Because they did organize it into themes.
Yeah, they did.
Well, we need.
I mean, Dave did, and we should recognize that Dave did took.
Yeah, the summary was great, and it was a lot of work taken from a lot of different people taking notes in different ways, and he did a really nice job collating all that. But
And
I
organizing.
think for this meeting, to make the conversation meaningful, I think we need to take his notes and then just say, okay, here's maybe 8 things that whatever.
That makes sense.
What was come up that was incorrect, when they were talking about the library, is they said the library had been able to raise $100,000 on its own. No, the town provided.
I noticed that,
Yeah.
but again, it's like minutes, like that's what people thought in the meeting.
Someone said that.
Someone said that in the group, and so
Yeah.
someone thought that, yeah, I
Right.
read that. and
But it is, but
Oh,
the
they did
town
not.
already provided that $100,000
Right.
with ARPA funding.
Okay. Does that
Now,
make
like
sense?
your recreation
So-
community building committee, it's, you know, there it says, you know, because somebody said, let's have a recreation committee, then another person said, create a recreation community building committee. So if you have a recreation committee, can't they community build it?
Right. So I think maybe we need someone to help us break that down and just,
Yep,
yeah,
we can do that.
okay. And we'll throw that on the next agenda.
And
Next.
we as a, well, potential committee. Vicinity thing.
I
Maybe
think
we can do that.
I think the first step would be for someone either on the select board or staff or whoever to sort of say like, here are the
This
big
document's
ideas.
in
You know,
PowerPoint
here are
form,
the ideas,
blah, blah,
right,
blah.
yeah. And then we go through and say, yep, I hear that. I'm not gonna do anything about that. Yep, I hear that. We should work on that. Yep, I hear that. Let's talk to the rec committee about that. Let's talk to the walkability committee about that, you know, sort of.
Yeah.
Just talk about them in big ideas and then decide whether to take action and how to take action and if there's budgetary implications, which was the point of the whole thing to begin with. Oh, yeah, that's not true. Just to inform the thinking.
Okay, great action plan there. Next on the agenda is discussion of the fee structure to incentivize rather than burden diverse housing types and buildings. Wait, however, I copied and pasted that, it did not.
That's the long version of one of the Affordable Housing Committee's recommendations that didn't fall in the planning commission's.
Yep.
That fell into ours.
Yep.
And I don't know anything at all about fee structures and how to incentivize. But that's coming, I think I emailed Paula and said, or Eric or someone and said, we said we were gonna talk about this, we need to talk about it.
Yep, there
But
were
I don't
nine,
know.
yeah, there were 9 things. One of the 9 has already been done. The other 7 punted to the planning commission, but number 8 is exactly what we just read. Update fee structure to incentivize. So in other words, like set your permits and application fees and whatever other fees in a way that
Encourages.
encourage the stuff we want and maybe
Disencourage.
the stuff that we have plenty of.
So you want a McMansion, it's gonna cost you $1 billion in fees. If you want a 1,200 square foot tiny house on a small piece of land, we'll give you the fees, we'll
Yeah.
pay you money for that, you know, like.
Yeah, I mean, because it makes, if you're gonna take away funding from, you know, like, you know, to incentivize the small houses, because these are like road impact fees. Because we already did away with school impact fees. We haven't had those in years. That then you would put more money, make the bigger houses pay more. Because because you still have to maintain do roads, but of course, the impact fees are specific for that particular area in that road. In an area.
So would you like to see the permit and road impact fees, what it is?
Yeah, I think we need to understand what they are currently.
We like a lesson.
I feel like I would need a lesson before I were to vote on it.
From Chris Lynn, like, when they explain to us, what are the impact fees, how they apply, who are the, how.
And it would
how
also,
work.
yeah, it would also be useful then to have what some of the other towns are doing right now.
Yeah, I would love to know that too. Like, what does Essex do?
Because we have not changed impact fees in quite a few years, and the cost of roads and stuff like that have gone up clearly.
Okay.
And so it's building costs.
Okay.
Any public discussion of that?
No.
But when we put it on and talk about it more with more information, then I'll definitely make that a whatever call it. You want a new switch?
So this is a replacement thing?
Review and consider approval of new switch installation from Tech Group.
Yeah, these switches, all of the Ethernet cables go into, and it's like a big, huge, like box,
Mhm.
yeah. And we haven't had that replaced, and the warranty's been, there's no warranty on it, so we need to replace it, upgrade it.
I asked my tech guy at school, I said, hey, can you look at this and tell me what your thoughts are on with the bid? And he said, 2008, Jesus Christ, you guys live on borrowed time. That was his first comment. Right, and then he said, yeah, that's all. He said, you're going with HP, which is more expensive than anybody else, but that's what you're doing, that's fine. And then he said, oh yeah, that guy's making money on his labor. He charged you $1,900, it's gonna take about 3 hours at the most, he said.
Right.
He said, I'll come in and do it in an hour for $1,000. So that was my only concern, and I don't wanna micromanage this bid. He said, the guy's making his money, the company's making their money on the labor.
Did we go out to a couple bids, or is this the only bid?
These are.
This is our company.
Yep, this is.
Oh, I see.
They do
We've
it.
signed one too. We've signed a contract.
Because the other company was even more expensive. That's why we switched back to the tech group, because the other company was more expensive and non-effective and not responsive, shall we say.
Yes, unless there's another comment, I'd make a motion and,
I get your motion over here.
okay, I'd like to make a motion, you comment? Make a motion to, approve the bid for new switch installation from Tech Group.
I can add
Let's say the number.
Yeah, let's throw that out.
In an amount of $7,000.
$1,700.
$849.
Yeah.
$7,849.
$7,849. That was seconded by Amy. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Peter, I work with guys like that say they can do something in an hour all the time, and then they tell their project manager they can do it in an hour, and then they show up and it takes them 3 days. And then they're annoyed by the project.
And I shouldn't
manager
say
over there.
And I shouldn't say it in public, but I don't want it. That's what this guy is.
Yeah, I know those, of course, you know those guys. Okay.
So the project manager would be a little happy when it's unhappy when it's 3 days instead.
Very
The
unhappy.
project manager would know that guy and be like,
Okay, so 1 hour, couple days.
all right, budget stuff. Oh, budget, I meant to say budget was one of the things we could talk about. Hopefully I did, so. In public,
Yeah, you did.
or except public comment.
Yeah, I think you did.
So the administrator and select board section, you'll see a drop in the salaries, and that's because Megan, I moved her hours over to the 24 hours over to highway. So for the fiscal year 27, Megan's hours, fiscal year 26, they were included in the administrative, but now next fiscal year, they'll be in the highway because that's where she'll be doing most of it.
I would have expected those to go up because there's 2 more of us now. And they raised their,
That's what I was looking for us in there too.
It's in there. But
so that first line, that's
We're not salaries, are we?
you got, well, like, I don't have, I can't pull up the other.
The spreadsheet that feeds it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I had that exact question. I was looking for.
But your amount is included in the spreadsheet. The only thing that could be is there might not be a formula brought over to the budget. I have to run all of those through Brian, because he puts these formulas in. So I believe this is correct, but that would be the reason why it wouldn't. You guys are in there, all 5 of you, for $5,000.
But you're not sure if that actually fed into
Formula
this line.
carried over,
Okay,
right? Because we had to switch that up.
okay.
You can reduce your tax liability
So,
by donating.
anyways, the other thing that you'll see, everything else I've kept, we kept pretty much basically the same. Legal expenses, I did raise those 3,000 because we've had a little bit more legal expense.
My question on this, wouldn't,
Yeah.
did I go too far down already? Postage went up, but wouldn't that go down because we're not gonna mail out the?
That's what I was thinking, the same thing.
Postage normally, like anything we mail, just the normal mail, that goes up, like it's already gone up, I don't know, 74, 75 cents. But it keeps going up like every 3 months.
And that takes out the, whatever it was, $5,000 for the, $1.17 each.
Well, the town report we kept that at 7,000
Okay.
because of the fact that their rates are gonna go up. She has upped to print the town report, yes. So we kept it at 7,000,
postage
even
on
though the
that.
posted, it's kind of a wash, right?
Postage on that goes in a different line. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
That goes-
Postage itself is up here, you'll see in that state, we kept that at 9,000.
Where,
But if
where
we're-
is mailing the town report? Where is the payment, where in the budget do we pay for mailing the town report? Right.
It would come out of the town report line items.
Okay.
So
And
it's,
is it-
I kept it 7,000 because of the fact that the town report costs are going to go up.
Just to print.
Even though the postage is removed out of that cost, so I'd rather keep it at 7,000 and
Yeah.
maybe you'll come in lower, but
And some people are gonna want it mailed anyway.
I think it was just confusing. It's like, oh, if postage is in 2 lines technically.
yes,
But
so this is like normal, like everyday posted, you know, mailing, bill, yep,
The
absolutely.
dog, the dog things and everything.
Yeah.
Did it take $1.17 to mail town reports out?
It was $1. I
for each
can't-
one,
yeah,
that was that they quoted us at,
And we mail,
1,000,
2,500, I thought.
yeah.
You mailed.
That's why we don't mail them anymore.
Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
come get them at town hall.
Right. So everything else is pretty much, I kept the same unless there's any questions that might cause concern or. And again, these will change, like Railroad Circle, that could change. We could, before we put the budget out, if there's maybe more expense that they want to do, we can include that here, but right now we've just kept it.
What am I missing? What's so different?
about what?
FY26 is 480. And FY27 is 444.
We took out Megan's hours
Salaries
and
benefits.
benefits.
Salaries and benefits.
But that. Oh, and benefits.
Yeah, benefits is down 30,000.
Mhm.
Okay, yeah, so it's that second line.
Yep.
Okay.
I'm worried is the wrong word, but like some things didn't go up, like telephone. I would just assume that everything's gonna get more expensive.
Telephone is because we contact them every so often and they'll reduce our bill.
Okay, like Verizon. Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, like Comcast, you just call them and complain.
Mhm.
Love it.
My question's with Megan, so she won't be doing any more town clerk hours then?
No,
Or,
that's her 24 hours that she does for us. Now, I've put her over to the highway department 24 hours and then she still does her 8 or 9 hours.
32
whichever.
hours a week.
Yeah, she's
Oh, okay.
32. Yep.
We just split our
Yeah.
time in different lines.
Well, we don't even,
Jacob's
we don't
okay?
even we put Megan's hours in Jessica's it's just, we took it right out.
Okay,
So it's gonna go right into,
makes sense.
all of it'll go into.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't see anything else that,
On the, lost it now, computer support and repairs, I mean, obviously, that a whole lot of expenses have happened since we changed. Now, does, running the new website, going to change those numbers at all, or is it just kind of?
no, it should be, because we were paying more than that. And we kept it at 45.
If hypothetically, if that thing that we just approved, that switch, would that come out of this line item?
It will come out of this year's budget, so you.
I mean, I know, but
Yes,
but if
yes,
but that's.
it
the
will.
line item.
Yep. Yes.
And-
So right now, I mean, in computer support and repairs for this fiscal year, we're over.
I would bet, especially with that.
So when we talked last time, there were some blank lines there too, and it was because those were not yet, we didn't have enough data yet. Is that the same with where I see blank spaces here?
Nope, there's nothing that will come out of where the blank spaces, this was old, like for the streetscapes, that was back in 2000, Catherine, 8, 9.
Yeah.
It was way back.
Way
So
back,
these
yeah.
are line items that, were from previous budgets.
Very old stuff.
Very old.
Emergency management was the one that struck me that I was like, oh, that's
Yeah.
interesting. There's nothing in that line.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I'm surprised that they haven't taken the whole line away.
Can we ask him to do that?
I was wondering about, it, but at some point, don't they have to go, doesn't the bigger spreadsheet go back more years? I mean, like, it was happening.
does.
But
But it'll go back to 23, but like she's saying, this could come off. We could totally hide those columns.
You know, because it's, you're either, you know, between the ops and the early.
Sorry.
Early teens is a streetscape. The streetscape doesn't exist anymore, really, other than, can we get new light, you know, that's part of, you know, maintenance. So it's not the streetscape, it's just, you can't get light bulbs anymore, so to speak. So that's a totally different thing. And of course, we're gonna add in, I could see that the town forest dam removal is gonna show up some, or is that gonna be under somebody else?
Well, yeah, a little bit, just because there's salaries up the top there.
Yep.
Scroll down to the next page.
This is another one. This is health
Office
office.
salaries.
Yep.
And I missed
So
the
the
highlight.
health office is the health officer and the dog warden, and we've included like travel meetings and subscripts for each one of those. The health officer, that is Richard Bernstein, and I don't know if he'll continue, because he wanted to retire like
Last year.
last year. And then the dog warden, we're back to no dog warden.
Oh, we are?
So that's where those are.
What's the health officer do?
He, if there's, well, he helped clean up the rat house. That was in the Sunnyview. I mean, he spent years working with, trying to get USDA to, you know, do something. And then finally was able to do that, but because it was such a health hazard. He deals with, you know, people complain that somebody's a hoarder and you've got 30,000 bags of garbage in your yard. He'll go over and he'll go over that.
It seems like small money for that job description.
I think they don't get any, when you get the call, it probably really sucks, but I don't think you get a lot of calls.
Well, he also.
I don't get thinking 300
That's not
right
like-
off the top. Oh my God, I'm surprised they haven't shut up there.
Plus, you know, he also can, if somebody has a rental unit and they complain about if it's not being taken care of and there's mold or something, the health officer will go in and see if it really is the case.
Publicize that because that we should.
He may
It
not.
doesn't happen that often. It's extremely rare.
Well, is it rare because it's
Nobody knows of it.
exactly
Right.
Is it
Oh,
rare
that's
because he
right.
doesn't have work, or is it rare because no one because
Didn't know the thing you could do.
exactly? And I don't think we do a good job publicizing that tenant rights there.
He knows, because, I mean, that's the case, but I mean,
Good thing.
years ago, I had to be involved in that because it was cheap.
Yeah.
I do that. So,
But clearly, we don't have a whole lot of rental property either.
yes,
But,
but I don't think
but, yeah, but the health,
responsibilities would be
he's
good.
he's a physician, so he knows.
great. No, I'm not.
But I think,
Talking about people don't know that they have.
Yeah, they don't know that, so it'd be good to have like a
Oh, that's
information
true.
on the website.
We only have 200 units in town. That's still 200 units and 200 families that should know that that is something that
Right.
they have the opportunity to take advantage of.
yeah, they should, if there really is an issue within the health of the health, air quality, that's.
And
I
it is a
think,
very common Vermont problem for landlords to let
Right.
Oh,
old
it's good,
properties
yeah.
go.
That's true.
So lead paint, things like that are a concern of mine.
I think they also do questions about, is your septic system failed? Or if there's an environmental issue in a ditch, or if there's been an accident and contaminants. And that's why having the medical doctor is beneficial, because you've got some professional credentials and typically they already have malpractice insurance.
Yeah, we were very lucky to have a doctor, typically it's a nurse.
Medical professional still, but I guess the more important thing that I'm taking away from this is we don't have one right now.
No,
Well,
he would still come probably.
Yes.
He may wanna not do it.
Yes, he wanted to stop last year, but he continued, just,
We need to find someone new to do that,
Mhm.
so.
Right.
Yeah.
It would behoove us to put that on our,
yep.
we definitely have doctors in Jericho who may want $2,500 a year.
I think I have two neighbors that are new neighbors, I think are.
There you go. Hey, hello, I'm Eric, I'm the I'm great at it. Do you like a job?
I already brought up a pie.
Hey.
It'd be fun.
You.
Hey, this year,
I feel like Vermont, you have to.
Yeah, I mean, I bring cookies, you bring, you know, dealer's choice.
And how do we find a dog board?
I know, because we could go.
That is hard.
That's not easy to do.
What does it, so I understand what the dog warden does, but like, what are the qualifications for that?
You should have, there's not really qualifications, but you should have a room and board where you can bring
You
a
have to
dog.
have a place where you can keep them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, all right.
Mhm. Yep,
We're dealing with
And
feral pigs.
some kind of skill in dealing with a.
yes,
Animal.
dogs, yeah,
Right, I was gonna say, that's a hard job, what,
yeah,
you're calling because there's a mean dog.
yeah, yeah.
But they've also had feral pigs and things like that too.
That is wild, that's,
Yeah.
all right. Fun. Do we need one of those too?
Mhm.
Moose horse.
Yep.
This is public health and safety, so Essex Rescue, Richmond Rescue, and the police services.
So no increase from Colleen this year.
That's surprising.
No,
Wasn't it?
it was, no, she kept it, level funded. The Richmond Rescue went up, I think it was $20 or something. Yeah,
That's
it's $20.
impressive though, because Richmond has been pretty
Yeah.
minimal for the last few years.
Yeah, and police services, so I've reached out to them, but I have not heard back from Dan. This fiscal year, it's $80 per hour. I put in 85 for fiscal year 27. I don't have that number yet, but
We just,
I just kind of,
he just asked us like 2 months ago for
Right.
more money.
Yeah, I would
So-
leave it at 80.
you'd leave it at
Because
80.
he went from 70 to 80.
You
And he
remember,
didn't like
some
it.
of them, we were sitting here and he was sitting back here.
Yes.
Was he there presenting to us?
No, well,
No,
he,
Was asking for
It was just there for-
a car, about a car you had to buy?
well, yeah, well, no, that was his excuse. Sorry, as the one person, explanation, there you go, as the one person who voted no on this. So, yes, he said the cost of new vehicles is
Right.
higher, so they
Right.
need more hourly.
so you want me to put it back to 80?
Well,
No,
I think he went from 70, he went from 60, blah, 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 went
He
to
went to
70,
70.
and then he went all the way to 80, and that was just
In
a
one
few
year.
months ago.
1 year.
So I just feel like hopefully he could stay at 80 for 27.
Okay.
You know why, I'm trying to remember why he was here a few months ago.
We had questions.
Yeah,
Oh,
contract.
you know what, he was on the agenda. He was on the agenda and we had to vote on it.
We're signing a contract.
The-
Have we already signed the
Because he-
contract?
Well, for 26, because you sign it, with signing it in the summer for the fiscal year 26.
Some of these budget stuff.
So we're
like,
like, we're guessing right now?
You guess.
Oh,
So,
Yeah,
yeah, you don't know,
You
like,
don't
so
know.
that's why it's like, hey,
You won't get their contract until June.
Okay, so we're guessing now, so that when he walks in June with his contract for July 1, we'll have money set aside to.
right, and he probably won't even show up.
Okay.
It was,
Yeah, he usually
it was
doesn't.
well after July that he was here, right?
It was July 18th or 17th, whatever.
Oh, was
the
that?
date was.
Yeah,
You
was
guys
there
remember?
early-
I couldn't remember your first time.
Yeah.
So the 190 that we budgeted in FY26, that includes the $10 increase?
No, the 190 was a guess, and
Guess.
we left it at 75 or whatever it was, but it came in at 80. That's why it's
We
tricky.
guessed he came in.
Mhm.
I think you keep it 85, I'm not.
I
will
think it's
say to
smarter
this-
to leave it at 85.
I do, I will
Yeah.
say aloud to this board, I don't love that,
Right?
but I think that that's the closer.
I think when we put it all together,
Yeah,
I
you're
mean,
gonna.
we can leave it there for now, but
Okay.
we're gonna be looking for places to trim. So I think it's good to go through these now, see how they got
Yeah.
to where they're at.
Yeah,
And I think it's fine to leave it there, but
and
there's 20 grand we could knock off by saying, we
Right.
need you to stay at 80 this year.
I
Yeah.
was gonna say, if you're telling me that in the past few years, we've gone from 177 to 180 to 221, that's
Mhm.
wild.
Mhm.
Yeah.
What's the revenue?
Labor costs have gone up in those 2 years too.
Right, right,
What's the
right,
revenue
right,
sharing? though?
right.
That you have an expense.
Yeah, but it's not,
It's
like
not very-
56,000 or something.
But it's important,
Not nothing.
it's
Not
important
nothing.
to
No,
look
no,
at.
yeah, but he.
But if
What
it's
the
net,
net, if you're paying
The
the
revenue
fixed
has
fee,
been, the revenue has been.
why aren't you getting?
Yeah.
the-
And that's because you want people not to spend the speed.
Right,
Right,
speed of-
right, right,
exactly.
So you're spending money to keep us from getting revenue.
Yeah.
Having a increased return on announcement.
That's right. In fact, we're actively making it so that we have that because we're spending money to not get
Exactly. And- Yes.
Okay, well, thanks for that overview.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I put it
But
in,
at
and
some
also
point,
I
we're
put
gonna have
it
to
in.
put all this stuff together and start like.
It will, yeah, so, that's why I did it this way, is because, each meeting, we
We
can
can
kind of go
cover
through a
something.
little
Yeah,
bit,
no,
and you
it's
can
good.
just see it, and then at the end, you're gonna see that big Excel spreadsheet with all of the numbers, yeah.
Yeah,
Can
we
you send
need
that
to
us now, or does Brian not want us to
I
have
did
that
send
yet?
it to you guys, did you not?
By
get it?
yourself.
I didn't get it. Maybe I
You
did.
sent it to me,
I
but
might
you
have
sent it to
gotten
me, but because we were talking about it in your office, so I
That
had the
could
link
be,
already.
okay, all right, I'll
Yes,
send
yeah.
it,
Oh,
yeah.
it's a live, it's a live.
Yeah, it's an Excel
Yeah.
document.
Because in the past, it's a live.
A live Excel
document.
document,
Oh, okay.
yes.
Yeah.
So that's that, no fat fingering things.
Right.
Right,
Oh,
Yeah.
you're sending us a link to the,
yeah, I'll make a copy and then
Yeah.
I'll send you a
Yeah.
copy.
I think that's.
Or
smart.
just, if you just share it as viewers.
yeah,
There you go, so you can.
So we can't,
Yeah,
touch
yeah.
it.
and you can save your own.
Viewers,
Right,
Yep.
exactly.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'd like to make a motion to change the liquor license for Griffin Rider LLC to Silver Hospitality LLC on October 12th. Hope they had a great party at Mansfield Farm.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Select board updates. We'll go around the room. We'll start at Laura this time.
Hey, Peter, I went to have I talked about the VLT Town Fair? This group?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we just talked about the email, it's coming up, right? And-
No,
He
it
went
happened,
to it.
I went to it,
I thought it was.
yeah, no, it happened, no, it was the eighth.
Oh.
It was really, really good. I got a bunch of ideas and came back and gave 4 of them to Paula, and she said, yep, we already did that, we already did that, we already did that. Oh, that's a good idea. So I felt really good that all the ideas I came back with, we were already on top of. It was, one of the most interesting parts was the last session, which was basically select board problems. And it was just people coming together and sharing all the select board members sharing what they were struggling with. And it made me really happy that we didn't have some of the struggle that other towns do. One town, their building has been locked up because it's not safe to be in the building because of citizens like attacking people. They just got back in their building after spending a bunch of money on like securing the building. I was like, wow.
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 Do you mind me asking?
I'm not gonna say it.
That's fine, yeah, that's fine.
But that was super great. I enjoyed it and it was.
Hey, if I was retired, I probably would have.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, be great.
One day.
One day, buddy, you can dream.
Oh, one thing was the night before, they had an
Unbelievably boring meeting on Zoom. Which is like the restructuring of the VLCT board or something. But they had a system in place for voting on Zoom. That I thought, oh, we should look into that for how they do it. Because Zoom has a way you can vote built into it, which I haven't ever used. There is still the issue of if Laura and I live together and we're on one Zoom thing, how do we both vote? But I thought that would be worth us looking into how that voting works.
Were they just using the polling feature?
I have no idea. No, they just taught, they said, if we have a debate, if we have a split vote, we have a process we'll use, didn't actually use it, didn't need to use it. The other thing that I wanted to bring up was I am the alternate on the CCRPC, Chittenden County Regional Planning Commission, second to Midland, Maine. They meet on Wednesdays, and I have a standing commitment on Wednesdays that I can't go to. I raised my hand and be the alternate because Catherine's the main one. Eric was taking on being the chair, so I said I'd be the alternate. But if either of you were able to be the alternate, I've so far done nothing, the alternate.
How often do they meet?
I'm no longer on the executive, it wouldn't matter whether, because you wouldn't be on the executive committee anyway. But we meet once a month, the third Wednesday of the month. And the meetings last usually about 2 hours, and 3 times a year we meet in person, and the rest of the time it's on Zoom.
I've been to one meeting. Because I wanted to like.
And we
see
have
what else was
trainings, in the fall, we
I don't think I can.
and we also have trainings at 5 o'clock, but it starts at 6, but we have trainings because there's been some turnover on the board. And there's been 2 trainings so far, it's September and October because we're off in August. There was an overview training in July for the new people.
Which I think was recorded. I couldn't.
But
go
they
to
are-
it, but
they are
I should go watch
recorded.
that.
Cool, maybe you and I could get together at some point and you can fill me in.
Yeah, because particularly if you don't have a planning background, which I didn't, but you know, and the federal government is huge. You will never know as many acronyms in your life.
I'm already struggling from.
I mean, we still get new ones, but that would be helpful because eventually, somebody will have to,
I'll reach out to you and maybe we can.
yep.
Do I make a motion to appoint her the alternate?
Yes, that would be good.
Make a motion to appoint Laura Crane to be the alternate to the CCRPC from October 16th forward.
Second that.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Congratulations on your new position, Laura.
I think it's
Makes us
fascinating.
proud, okay?
I think it's just fascinating, because you really are a detailed person. I mean, both of you guys are just detailed persons, all
You're talking about me.
And
You need a glossary though.
Yeah, I guess that there's a, $5 million.
oh, yeah.
Fine.
It's not like the fat finger with 300 million, what was it, the 300 trillion?
Yes.
Trillion for the cryptocurrency fat finger error.
Did you have anything else, Peter? The other thing I wanted to talk about was, I talked to Paul a little bit about the town report. I went to, the VLCT had this town report competition thing, and I looked through it and got all inspired about it, about like making ours all spiffy. And Paul said that Linda is kind of the person who does that. And I said that I would, when Linda got back in, I would talk with her about, just helping with this year's town report and trying to make it fancy schmancy. And I don't want to waste staff time with making it fancy schmancy, so.
Peter, this is my white whale and I volunteer as tribute here. I would like to win best town report
Okay.
so desperately.
Okay, that makes me super happy.
I just learned there's something I can win and now I need to win it. So,
Amazing, fabulous, okay. Well, I've taken some notes on our town report, which I can give to you.
love it.
And then you can,
I have so many thoughts.
and I can, so then you can talk, she can.
Yeah.
We've already talked about this.
Yeah.
I may have made an appointment with you specifically because I need to win this competition.
I seriously, am so happy.
It was nice, but very competitive.
Yeah,
I have ideas.
I think it's actually great.
The VLCT has a web page
Oh, yeah.
of like, what, oh, you know. it's-
Wait, how do you?
I also sent you a detailed email with the webpage and all of my thoughts on it.
Okay,
And I've got ideas.
I love it.
I can-
Okay, something up, somebody else deal with it.
That
Hey,
There
that's
you go.
good. There you go. That's
Okay, that's all I got.
okay.
Catherine, you got any?
Oh, yeah. Because last night was a big meeting. Anyway, this might be helpful for Rob DuBois, and it may be what Charlie was talking about the last time. But Ann Janda, who's the Senior Energy Project Manager for the CCRPC, she's also now been tasked to help support small water and fire districts that might need help. And so since he had mentioned it, this may be, something that,
She did look into it and there, she did put an email back out and, I'll forward you that email.
oh, good, yeah, that was,
Because there was some kind of question about, the fire districts versus, residential,
Right.
water or.
because
kind
this is a small water, it's
Community water or something.
But but it did talk about small water.
Yes.
Not just fire
Yep,
districts.
yep.
And I think they're small community water
Mhm.
and looking at, unlike, because when Jericho East had an issue, they were much larger and able to, and were able to afford it. even though it was expensive, but like figuring out how to do it. Municipal dues for if people putting in things into the budget, the municipal dues are gonna be up, overall 4% next year, but based on the equalized educational grand list, Jericho's are gonna go up 4.99% or $405 to $8,523 for the budget.
Can you explain that again, please?
Every year, we pay a dues to the Regional Planning Commission for
Yep.
just to, because they use it actually as a match for federal transportation dollars.
Okay.
And that's why they do things.
Okay.
Overall, the dues are going up. The number is 4%, but it changes for every municipality based on what their equalized education brand list is. So that means ours are going to go up 4.99%. And so for the budget, it's $8,523 for this year, for the FY27.
Will they be sending that out?
I'm sure they will.
Okay.
But I just thought I'd give you a heads up.
8,000.
$523 will be the dues for the CCRVC for FY27. The board also passed the TIP, which is Transportation Improvement Plan, which is for the federal years 26, 29. And so that it goes on to go to the STIP for the which is the State Transportation Plan. And just you guys who are working on capital projects, dollars that are expensive, expected to be spent in FY20. So I looked at the things we have and like it's good to have in the monitor because one, we got the Browns River bridge done, but the other ones are money that are for the other sidewalks. And we need to be thinking about the multimodal commission because they're looking at $25 for the total project to be $840,000 and the grant 600.
Which one is that? The MMU path?
That's the MMU path. The total they're looking at is $25 is $840,000 for the whole project. And we have a grant that's $600,000 where it's 80 federal and 20 local. And so for fiscal year 26, the estimated PE and ROW is going to be about $35,892. But they're going to have another $50,000 to start construction in 27 and $506,000 to start construction in 28.
I
So-
think all of our eyes just glazed over, Catherine. I'm looking around the room.
Yeah.
Um,
I didn't catch any of that. You're talking about what?
$5?
with $25, I have no idea what you just told me.
Anyway, they have squeezed it so it looks, they're gonna try to keep it under the $600,000 grant is what they're gonna try to do, even though theoretically, if you were doing the total cost for Fed, state and local dollars, it's $840,000, but they're gonna try to work at it for $600,000.
So this is for the
Can you
future.
start the whole, wait, can you start that entire paragraph
Yeah.
over again? Take that whole, seriously, take the whole topic from the top again.
Oh, this is your Browns Trace multimodal connection, MMU to the village, to
High school.
Finishing the sidewalk.
finish the sidewalk.
So getting from the bottom
In
of,
fiscal year
Keep it out.
26,
High school.
they expect to spend $35,882 on preliminary engineering and right away.
This year?
Yeah. 26 runs till through June.
But the sidewalk we just approved, or didn't even approve tonight, we just got an update on, has been going on 8 years. We just barely got like that grant. Like I was just very surprised that anything's starting yet.
Oh, yeah, this one's moving along.
Okay. Okay.
Just like the Riverside one, that really.
right?
But he finished early, because that was not
Yeah.
expected to be finished until next.
Lee
Okay,
River.
okay, I had no idea there was any
Continue on.
money coming out of our budget for that project this year. That
So
was
for
not clear.
fiscal year 27, you need to think about, they're expecting, because it's 80-20. They're looking to start construction in fiscal year 27 that will finish, which is the budget we're finishing, that we're going to be making. And then the rest of the construction will finish in fiscal year 28.
What's our 20% number?
It's theoretically, since it's a 600,000, it's around,
Oh, okay. 20%, okay, so
Because they're looking at $506,000 that will be spent in fiscal.
We did have the MMU money in there for FY26.
Yeah.
Okay, we did, all right.
Yeah.
Stand
So,
corrected.
so it's gonna be like 120,000.
Yeah, because we really don't want to be spending that.
Overall,
Across two budgets.
across 27 and 28.
And what's, and then you remember that, they put it under Jericho, even though it's you know, V-Trans project, and that's that culvert over Mountain View. Remember they talked about it?
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're gonna work on that because they're doing all kinds of, engineering in 26 and doing construction in 27.
There's a culvert going in over
Yeah.
here under 15.
And-
Yeah, Mountain View, which we got a presentation on a bunch of months ago.
And then the Lee River Road sidewalk, they have, he's talking about his preliminary engineering, and but they also talked about, he mentioned ROWs, but they have for fiscal year 26, some construction to finish the rest of the sidewalk in 2027. But that's what the tip was just approved for, basically. So it'll be, but we're making tip amendments all the time. But I just thought I'd let it pass on as you're trying to do your capital budget, what these numbers are.
That's good. Can you forward me that, Catherine?
Sure.
And what meeting was this?
This was the Regional Planning Commission. That's.
Right. In Chicago on Wednesday.
But all these fun little things. And then there's a fun little one that is, they have for Skunk Hollow. And it's all V-Trans, but they're putting in, they have, they're anticipating spending they're spending $50,000 in fiscal year 26. And it's on safety and traffic operations. They're relooking and, starting the process to rethink.
But you're talking about the intersection of 117 and Municipal Planning.
Yep.
Oh, the far, like,
My aunt asks me about this every time I see her. She really wants to know what that design looks like. They're really concerned.
Yeah. This is not a design yet. Nope. This is just, there's.
We saw pictures.
We've seen all kinds of pictures, but this is just the early safety and traffic operations.
Okay.
So they have nothing on PE, ROWs, or any construction numbers at all within the next.
So we don't know what it might potentially.
Because this runs through fiscal year 29 for the feds.
Okay.
So they haven't put any numbers in there, but there you go. Just thought I'd throw out some interesting numbers to show that I sit there, take notes.
oh, no one doubts that, Kathy. No one.
And then, and just, the Jericho, the other one is Jericho Energy Task Force on October 30th at 6:30 PM at the Deborah Rossin Memorial Library. We'll be hosting a presentation by Chris West on energy efficiency and affordability. Vermont Gas and Efficiency Vermont will also talk about their programs and rebates. And what's cool.
When's that?
October 30th at 6:30. And Chris West is, certified passive home builder and trainer and all kinds of other things. And last night on Channel 3 News, they had a thing about a brand new house that's being built in St. Albans that is a passive home. And technically, you can heat a passive home by people coming over and having tea.
Very cool.
Really? Yes. Yeah. But it's.
I could be wrong, but I think.
You can see. Manufacturing facilities before and after in Germany with passive construction.
No, it must be a lot of tea.
Well, I mean, theoretically, they use it in theory. But-
Where's that meeting?
Deborah Rossin.
Deborah Rossin.
It should be a very good meeting. But a passive home could, yes, that's the joke about the tea, but theoretically, it wasn't just theoretical. They built the Habitat for Humanity homes in Shelburne quite a few years ago, doing passive construction. And the Somali people moved in and they talk about them and they ran in at 80 degrees because that's comfortable to them.
Yeah.
It cost them $100 a year. in energy
I was
costs.
gonna say, I've done a Habitat home with one of these, they're incredible. Absolutely
Why are we
incredible.
all doing that?
But that's why there was, Channel 3 had the news and, about it, and there's been several other, impacts. And that's because it's about 10%. Well, actually now it may not be that much more. At one point it was 10% more.
The water systems have gotten a little cheaper, so maybe it's a little less, but that was the really expensive part, the exterior, passive water system. But yeah, they're just a little bit more expensive than a traditional home, and traditional new build homes are
It's already expensive.
So-
Yeah, in fact, this Chris's comment was, why build an already quasi, expensive, somewhat expensive home and heat it somewhat expensively? That's where the expense is going to continue to go up. And so that's why we're talking about, energy efficiency and affordability. And, let's
Is
see.
houses like that or something that maybe we should have reduction in permitting costs for?
For example,
For example, just if we're,
And then the other thing is from the RPC, they have a legislative breakfast in December. And they invite the new legislatures to come to this breakfast, in lieu of in lieu of the December meeting. And it is a breakfast, it starts at 7:30. So truth be told, I went once.
you're not a morning person. So.
That's right. In fact, it became a standing joke. The only time I went was when I was chair and had to be there. But because they start talking about breakfast topics now to talk to the legislatures and say they like the select boards to come, or who can, the board members to come, and these legislatures. And the big topic is going to be housing and it's the Act 181, which changes to Title 24 and process updates, transportation funding, and they're also going to talk about water and wastewater funding. I mean, that's going to be an issue.
If they have housing targets and they're not talking about
Because
that, they've got the major problems.
they're doing something.
Right, well, this is what they want the legislature to hear,
Right.
Yeah,
but they can, because they also said it's not gonna be a good year for the state budget. So, I mean, we don't know what's gonna happen, but that's an assortment of updates that I've had. Some are, as you said, eye rolling. But I wanted to pass on the stuff that has now been passed and has gone on to the state.
great.
I have one more thing. WRUJ went live today
Oh, wow,
for the first time at 10 a.m.
cool.
And I tuned in because why? I'm retired. And so I listened to that. It was great. I emailed the DJ. I said, you must be just about exactly 57 years old because you're playing all the songs from my teenage and college years. And then he must have looked me up and he said, oh, I just heard the Jericho Selectboard, Peter Booth just called it, just.
It's like they're actually playing music. I thought
Yeah,
it was just
yeah.
like,
That's what I thought too. No, it was, no, but he had 2 hour with phenomenal music.
really?
Yeah. And then Angeliki came on and he has like all these like local stories and it was
Oh my
really,
gosh.
it was super engaging. He talked about it. And then Angeliki came on, he said, and he mentioned that I had sent a thing in, and she said, oh, Jericho Selectboard. Their meeting about their speed bumps was one of our 10 most viewed videos that year.
So you're telling me one thing.
Oh, my God, that's terrific.
Was there another thing you wanted to talk to about that?
We're just
About that same topic?
Oh, yes, there was. But thank you, Aaron.
Like, I thought that's where you were
Thank you.
going.
No, I forgot about that.
I'm fine.
Angeliki asked, back when it was a 3-person board, Angeliki asked if we would do a podcast about the select board. Eric and I did a really good podcast. It was funny, it was informative, it was super, super professional,
Oh, cool.
and I forgot to press record. No, never got recorded.
It was great.
It was.
Or like, cause it could have been terrible and we'll never know.
Exactly. No, it was phenomenal. That's phenomenal. Okay. So she asked us to take another crack at it. And I was thinking that maybe you two would want to do a podcast, which is like, it's like if 15-minute, 20-minute, half-hour conversation about joining the select board.
Great.
And so I thought that I would, Eric said to again, that he and I would do it again, if you want, try it again. But then I was thinking maybe one of you could do it with Eric, or you could both do it with, it can't be three of us, because that's a meeting.
Yeah.
Tom says I've never done anything like that.
He just made a, made a comment.
All right, that's it.
So if you guys are,
Okay, sure. I'm very witty and entertaining, so sure will.
It won't be as good as
won't
ours.
be as good as ours, trust me, it won't be as good as ours.
Good, but I'm not
Not,
really as
not,
good
not
as
as
your,
good as us, yeah.
definitely
Yes, it was
fantastic.
definitely amazing.
The best podcast that's ever happened.
I think all of the record of me going, oh, I can't even say it because I'm swearing, no.
We talked about our personal lives.
Right.
Oh my
I caught all that.
Yeah,
Okay.
right, yeah, yeah.
The
And then we
recording.
stopped, right, and we called them 3 days, like, I'm so mad about this, and da-da-da, and then, hey, here we go. Like, the end of it.
Wrong. Fabulous.
And I think we were a 5-person board with only 3 members.
It was one
at
of-
the time.
Yes, exactly,
It
yeah,
was
right
the
window.
First meeting that we had, you told us this
Yeah.
story.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Right, I thought we could do it, because there were 5.
5-member board with
Right.
only 3
Yeah.
members.
Are there podcasts on their website?
Not a podcast, it's a radio show. I call it a podcast. I don't know how it works, honestly, because I couldn't even record it, so. And not like we did offer to come and get the recording set up.
Yeah.
For you.
Maybe I'll do that part for you.
Okay,
thank you.
I will email, I'll send her an email, and CC both of you on it, to share your email addresses that you're, we'll have to do one. That's all I got.
I didn't have any updates beyond, I would just spend time trying to prepare for, bringing that vote forward.
And you did a good job, I thought.
It was good.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm
Well,
glad,
there was a lot of
glad David asked those questions, because I was like, that's what the whole time, I'm like, what do you mean? What are we signing up for? Oh,
Yeah.
we're signing up for what?
Yeah.
We already signed up.
Wait, we've already committed, we talked about how
We kind of like approved the PER already,
Right.
but now we're approving the loan for the PIN. I'm like, so anyway, it went exactly as it should, but it was very confusing to like understand all that stuff, so. I can't think of another update.
Well, it's like when the 3-member board, you know, that we, when we approved the initial thing, it was 190,000 essentially, that was technically a loan, but was forgiven.
But forgiven through the, yeah. Any updates for you?
Only thing is we need to sit down and have a deeper conversation on the capital budget and plan.
Yes.
So I know that we had people that had some homework to do and some takeaways, but if we can sit down.
I talked to Chris Shaheen and he had said they don't have a plan.
I know, but that's, we talked about that and
Yeah.
how the plan, we
Yes.
aligned on things. So I do want to get us all back together because we had some takeaways and we had some things to do and
Yep.
I want to get back to, because what is most critical is that list that you're putting together, that's the actual line items of everything that we have.
Yep.
And then we can do the fun after that. But I at
Okay.
least by the end of this year, want to have that total
Oh,
list
yeah.
of all of the line items together.
Okay.
So that we can then do the math along with the budget.
Yeah, that's why I passed on the stuff that was in the tip, because I knew you were trying to do these long-term things.
Yep.
Exactly, I appreciate it. Yeah. We can put all that sort of fun stuff in, okay, I'll make a fun Excel, that's all for me.
Any updates? No. All right, moving right along, where are we now? We are at approve the minutes.
You go ahead, because
I just have one thing, which is,
the line 91,
I don't know, it's $13,000.
yes,
Yeah, that was the one,
because,
Yeah, line
91.
91, is it? It says like 3,500.
yeah,
It says 3,500, it should be 13,000.
right. The other one I have is line 81, it's where Charlie is noting that the LERB may give us some pushback because of tier 1B. Because tier 1B is for, the infrastructure, wastewater, the add, act, expanded Act 250 kind of stuff. But with, as long as you have some water, but because he said it would be, pushback because they're looking for more concentrated areas that to build, that we have this happen to. And because ours is all sprung out and it's a low, density area, and it says it is a low density area to be served by public water. It is an area already that, map here one made that is served by public water.
So you just need to
Take away,
is,
take away the 2B,
okay.
because that changes the meaning considerably.
Okay.
Otherwise, it's pretty good.
Only had line 91. So
Yeah.
had another.
Yeah.
Oh, I would like to make a motion to approve the minutes from last week's date, the
October 2.
here we go, October 2nd meeting.
That's amended.
As amended.
I'll second that.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And Peter,
I would love,
you don't have it memorized yet?
no, I don't.
Come on.
I'd like to make a motion to go to executive session for the purpose of personnel and real estate, because premature disclosure of information will be detrimental to the parties involved. And I would like to invite first time.
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Good night, everybody.
Good night.